and we've got to re-record it. It was fucking...
Oh, what happened?
Oh, it was a combination of audio, lighting, and the guest and the content. We didn't really nail it.
Okay, sure. So you're going to get him back in?
We'll get her back in.
Yeah, cool.
It's frustrating because it's one of those ones that you need to do a bit of research for. So you're working off notes, and it just sometimes it's a bit clunky.
Gets stilted. Yeah.
And then you'll take off on a tangent, and you've gone away from the point.
And you've got to try to get back to it, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. And it was about mental health.
Okay.
So it's one of those subjects that you can't really fuck up and go off on a limb.
Yeah. You want to do justice to it, to the topic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right, we're ready to rock and roll.
Hey, I'm trying to live until I die. Come connect, you know it's a lewd state of mind. Yeah. Talking traveling, if you wanna fly. Fitness and finance, living a better life. Keep it raw, no filter. Living with no limit. Thank you for tuning in. Come on, let's get it.
Let's do this. We good? Can't hear you, Maddie. Are we good?
We are good, sorry.
Hey, Maddie, did you like my little microphone covers? You see a little lure logo on there?
When did you get them?
Oh, I got them off the interweb about 4 weeks ago.
Oh, they are very cool.
Nice. It's just fucking logos and branding everywhere.
Everywhere. You can get it tattooed on your forehead.
Wasn't there a competition? Radio stations do those competitions, don't they? First person tattoo will give you $250.
Yeah. Well, let's do that. Yep. Michael Zupecki.
Zupecki, yes.
Zupecki. Welcome back, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you back. You know you're welcome anytime around here.
Oh, great. So I'll rock up next week at 3 a.m.
No.
Off my face. I'll take advantage.
Do you want keys to the studio? You like
Absolutely.
it that much?
I need somewhere to live, so thank you.
It's an awesome... Obviously, we've made some adjustments since the last time you were here.
Yeah, you have. You have, actually. Yeah, it's nice. You've brought in the wall here and improved the acoustics. And
Yes, you noticed.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I was here 2 weeks ago for the third birthday, and I came up here, but I just didn't notice, probably because the wall is black.
Of course.
And I was distracted, but I just sort of came in today and I'm like, something's different.
Hey, that was a great night the other night, the races, the third birthday Hong Kong race night.
It was really good, yeah. It was really good.
We had a
it was
really
a shame
good...
I had to step out earlier than I wanted to, but you were saying it went for quite a bit of extra time.
It did.
Yeah.
We went into extra time.
Yeah, needing a week's recovery.
I know that's terrible. That's terrible. It means I've had a really good night.
Yeah, absolutely. Really I think as you get older, it's like the recovery time sort of gets longer, right?
Exactly.
As much as we don't want to admit that.
It just makes no sense at all for one night of fun to pay for it for a week later.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't equate, does it?
Well, yeah, it depends on the night of fun. Sometimes one night of fun results in 18 months of problems. 18 years. 18 years of problems. 18 to 20, or maybe now up to 30 or 35.
Yeah.
People don't leave home for much longer these days.
Here's a shout out to all my children in New Zealand I don't know about or haven't found me yet.
Hopefully they don't.
Hey, what do you think about the moustache, mate? What do you think
love
about
it,
that?
actually. I was going to comment on it when I first walked in. Yeah, love it.
I'm running the moustache because I actually had a 90s goatee going on, and I went to go trim it, and I slipped and put a big notch out of it. And I said, well, fuck, what am I going to do now?
Right.
So, all right, well, let's just improvise.
Yep.
Running the moustache. Now, apparently, men touch their moustaches like 760 times a day.
You were saying that before. That sounds out of control.
Well, like we did the math, it was like once every minute.
It was like 47 times, an hour or something. Yeah. So almost once a minute. Yeah.
So for anybody listening to this podcast, whenever you hear this sound, that's me touching my moustache. So we're going to see how many times I touch.
I can kind of hear that. Actually. There you go.
Yeah.
So you had, when you say 90s goatee, you had like the mustache with...
Well, like you've got...
Like what I've got.
Yeah. That's definitely a 90s... I think it's a 90s trend. I mean, I don't think it ever went out of fashion because that's the thing with facial hair is that what looks good on somebody may not look good on somebody else.
Yeah,
And you do with what suits your face.
Yeah, you work with what you got. Yeah, 100%.
So I haven't had any bad feedback from the moustache so far, so I'm going to rock with it. And it's actually funny because I actually look like my uncle. My uncle,
yeah, right.
He's probably not listening to this, but I was looking at a photo of him the other day. I look very much. It's my dad's brother. So definitely that I can see what I'd look like in another 20 or 30 years time.
So is this the first time you've rocked the mustache on
It
its
is.
own?
It is.
Okay,
I mean,
right.
I've done Movember maybe a couple of times. So
Yep.
shout out to everybody at Movember who does a really good job.
Yep.
But yeah, it's the first time I've rocked.
You've done it outside of November.
Yeah, well, this is exactly. I think
pre-Movember.
I think I've done I've always been able to. See, that's the trouble with some people is that they just can't grow it. They can't, or it's patchy, or it just looks. It doesn't. It's not full.
Sure.
I mean, this is not a who's the '90s actor with the Ferrari?
Ferrari.
Help me out here. The
You're
cop.
thinking about the cop, or what about Ron Burgundy?
Ron Burton. No. I'm
Ron
thinking,
Burgundy.
That's a good stash.
yeah.
That's a good stash. No, this is
Absolutely.
going to bug me now. He had a red Ferrari. Lived in Hawaii. He was a.
I don't know. I can't help you.
There was a from Hawaii 5-0.
No. We're gonna.
What, he had a killer mustache, did he?
Yeah. Fuck. What's his name?
We're going to pull it up.
This is going to bug the shit out of me.
Was it like a full paintbrush mustache? The type of thing I aspire to but could never achieve.
That's the thing. Like that. Like dudes that can grow good thick mustaches. You got to take your hats off. to them.
Even like an even covered beard, right?
Yep.
So like I'm 39 now, and it took a long time for it to connect up here, and I'm still starting to get hair here. I don't get it. I don't get coverage on my cheeks, right? So I reckon I'll be fully grey by the time I could potentially even have a crack at growing a full beard. But like people that I've worked with.
There he is. What's his name?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I should know that guy's name. Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. Man,
That's incredible.
look at that for a stash, mate. I aspire to have a nice stash like that.
Yeah, and like it's all in proportion with his eyebrows as well. Actually, like it just looks like a third eyebrow for him.
And a good head of hair, man. Good head of hair.
Yeah, absolutely. I could never grow something like that. It just doesn't work for me. But I've worked with people. There was a guy that I worked with a long time ago who had the most perfect beard. It was even everywhere. It was like a mustache had gone everywhere on his face. So, you know, some people's beard hair is a little bit different to like their mustache hair a little bit. His was like perfect.
And like, all the same colour?
And all the same, or just even. It was like, do you straighten it even though it's this short? Do you get a straightener out and crimp it? Because it just looks incredibly perfect all the time. And it just matched up with his hair, like perfect sideburns right up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just like he was a werewolf.
Well, that's the thing. As I said, a lot of people, they get patches, or like if I grow mine, I've got 2 grey patches here, and there's a bit of ginger in there, and there's grey, and it's like it's a bit of everything. You know? It's you couldn't even call it salt and pepper because it's contaminated. But
it's contaminated.
It's what even my mow at the moment, there's a bit of ginger in there, but it doesn't look grey, so I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to roll with it. So so obviously it's called either a Bristol Batoon, a bro stash is another name for it. Cookie duster.
Cookie duster.
Crumb catcher, of course.
Crumb catcher.
Face lace. It's grass grin.
I haven't heard most of these before.
Grass grin. Lip shadow.
Oh, yeah.
Manometer.
A manometer.
Sort of.
Does anyone use that unironically?
Mouth bro. Moz. Mr. Tickles, I like that one.
Tickles.
That's a good one. Tea strainer. Upper upholstery.
Lip holstery. As in like upholstery.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Whiskers and of course wing.
Where did those come from? The internet or ChatGPT?
Of course they did. They came from the interweb. And there was that same information about 760 times a day.
Oh, yeah.
Which I just did that because I knew I was going to.
I kind of want to know the source material. It's like, did they get a study of people with mustaches, put them in a lab and count? That's a very niche study,
isn't it? It's crazy. And of course, it's a symbol of status, and it has been throughout the course of time.
Oh, like male status.
Yeah. All throughout history. So there you go. There's my stash.
Great.
That took up 5 minutes.
That's it. We wrap. We're done. I think we're done.
Let's take a break.
We're done here.
I need a pee. Hey man, we talked earlier, and I couldn't believe that you must be living under a rock.
Oh yeah.
You've heard about 3-Eye Atlas.
Quite literally under a rock that I didn't know I was living under when you told me about this 3-Eye Atlas. Yeah, no, I'd never. I haven't heard of this at all. It hasn't passed my feeds, and I am, as you know from our last chat, like I love like science, especially cosmology, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't seen this at all. It's come as a complete surprise.
That's crazy because you know the world's going to end, or we're going to be invaded in less than 2 months.
This is about the 6th time the world's supposed to end since I've been here. So this is interesting. Maybe this will be the one.
Maybe it will. Well, everybody thinks we're going to be visited by aliens, which is it's probably not a bad thing, I
I
suppose.
I don't know if they'll be too impressed when they get here. They might be like, these guys are a mess.
Yeah, we came all this way to,
What the
for
fuck
this
is wrong with you guys?
idiot fucking show.
Yeah. You guys haven't worked this out yet, have you? This whole civilization thing. Well, I think we're going to leave you alone for 1,000 years and see how it goes. Yeah. So they'll be disappointed. Or if they come here, they'll be like, we come in peace, and we'll be like, well, let's kill them.
Yeah. That'd be typical of humanity. It's
That's
just
right.
To knee jerk and do something fucking stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Is like, how is the world gonna react to an alien species finding us or presenting itself to us in some way?
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen? I mean, obviously, the world's pretty fucked up at the moment.
Yeah.
There's always a war going on. Humanity's fucked.
We're always on the brink of something.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think and not to comment on, say, this 3-eye atlas as to whether or not that's extraterrestrials, but if in general that happens, I think you get one of two things. You'd probably get a little bit of both, actually. You get some type of hysteria for sure, right? Because people would all of a sudden, it basically pops the bubble that a lot of people live in. If you're scientific, we're the only things that we found in the universe, right? So we haven't confirmed that there's other life elsewhere. That can be a panic-inducing thing to realize, where now finally we know that that's not true. And especially if you're more spiritual or religious and you live in this sort of the Earth's 6,000 years old, and humanity was created, and we're really the only thing that exists, right? And so now all of a sudden that's challenged. So I think there'd be like mass hysteria on some level, but also it would give us something that's unifying, that's outside of the Earth, right, for us to focus on, that makes us feel like a single family.
Do you honestly think that we could pull that shit off?
Some people
Really?
can, but I think mass hysteria is probably going to be a more contagious process than that. But if we get through it, it does give humanity something to point at and say, so at the moment, the only us versus them we have, we talked about tribalism last time.
Yes.
Is interspecies, right? We're sort of, or within our own species, right? Intraspecies. So we sort of go, oh, you look different, you believe in different things, so it's us and them, right? But if we have a real them, then the us becomes us as humanity, right? In comparison to something else. And that could actually be a unifying force at some point. But I think initially it would create mass hysteria. It would create, people would be afraid, right?
I like your enthusiasm about everybody banding together, us against them.
Yeah.
I think that's in vain, to be quite honest.
Sure.
I've got no faith.
Oh, look,
definitely, as far as you say, us coming together. I mean, everybody's going to probably go within their own tribes and look after themselves.
Sure.
As a knee-jerk reaction, or as part of the hysteria, they're going to seek solace in what they believe in, and whether that's the church or their village or their tribe, their group.
Yep.
And I don't see a unity. I mean, you look at the world at the moment, and as you say, we're not fighting for one cause. The world is not.
No,
everybody's got their own
tearing
agendas.
in a million directions.
Yeah, everybody's got their own agenda.
Yeah. So I think mass hysteria will be the prevailing force. I suppose what I mean about the unity thing is that view would be available to us if we took it. At that point, it would be irrefutably true that we could see ourselves as a single family, and some people will be able to grab that quickly, but a lot of people won't. And our structures won't deal well with this distraction or this disturbance, right? Like, we have an economy that's already running on a knife's edge. And so if extraterrestrial visitors came, what do you think that would do? It would just destabilize markets completely.
Yeah.
And then that'll affect people's lives, like, very specifically, right? Like, if you get economic collapse, people won't even be able to have a moment of peace to sort of say, how do I want to view this? There'll just be panic and destruction.
It's complete chaos.
Yeah, exactly. And then it depends on the nature of the extraterrestrial visitors. Is it a small group of them? Is it one of them? Is it an entire armada of them that's turning up? Are they coming with a threatening message? Are they coming with a cooperative message? Are they coming to surveil us? Sort of what's the idea? I think it's kind of interesting that if like, my personal view is, if an alien race, and this is why I think people say, oh, aliens are already here and they're walking around among us, and other people have these sorts of beliefs around certain conspiracies. I think it's kind of an interesting idea, but if I take, we might have talked about it last time, Occam's razor, which is the simplest explanation, is most often the correct one, that a lot of phenomena on the Earth is explained away without invoking extraterrestrials being already here. And then the other thought experiment I always do is, if there's a species that's smart enough to create faster than light travel to get here in any reasonable amount of time, they would also arrive at a similar arc to us, where they'd probably invent artificial intelligence. Like, we're already doing that before we leave the planet. Like, that's going to happen before we can send human beings out to other planets. So by the time we do that, I don't think we'll send human beings in rocket ships because it's too difficult. And there's almost no point. You could just stick an artificial intelligence in a machine and send that to another planet. So I always question, why would organic beings that have this advanced technology send themselves? Because as soon as you put an organic being in a spaceship, you have to feed them, you have to worry about bone density loss, you have to worry about psychological problems being in a small ship for like decades or hundreds of years. You got to try to figure out how to put them in stasis, or they're going to age and die and have to give birth to new people on the ship on the way there, right? And we're talking needing to succeed at that over a huge time scale. It would be way easier to go, well, before we had that technology, we built synthetic intelligence. It's a computer. We just stick that in a machine and we send that. And that's it. That's the thing that explores the universe.
But humans have always been explorers, haven't we?
Yeah, we are.
Haven't we?
We are, absolutely. Because I now think, like, with just the trajectory of technology for ourselves, like the dream of watching Star Wars and seeing, Han Solo get in the Millennium Falcon and thinking, how cool would it be to have my own spaceship, like my own car, but be able to leave the planet. And I now am more pessimistic on, even if we get to a point where technology could do that, I just don't think we will. I don't think we'll send humans. We'll try to send humans out for arrogance. Like Elon will send humans to Mars because we just want to prove that we can do it. But it'll actually be far more cost effective to just send artificial intelligence out.
Of course.
And if artificial intelligence gets to a point where it's truly intelligent, then it's an extension of us anyway. So it is kind of imbued with the human spirit in a sense, right? Because we built it. And so it's almost like the next form of evolution. And so artificial intelligence populating the universe is human intelligence populating the universe. But it doesn't have to, all it needs is solar panels and to fly close enough to a star to keep itself going. Whereas if we put you in a spaceship and we've got to look after you, it's a pain in the ass. Like, it's so risky and it's a liability. It's very expensive. And you think about, like, you could change the nature of the ship. Like, the ship would only have to be very small if you stick a computer in it, right? You don't have to create this giant thing where people can sleep and cohabitate. It's just a mess. So yeah, I think that, so even with the alien thought experiment, I think, why would they do that? Why would they want to sit in a rocket for 1,000 years to get here? Because even the closest galaxy, Andromeda, is like millions of light years away, right? So it's like, even if you can travel at light speed, it's still going to take millions of years to get here. And so what happens to you in a ship over 1 million years? But yeah, in saying that as well, if you travel at light speed, relative time stops as well. I don't know if you know much about that stuff, but that gets pretty wacky.
Yeah.
So effectively you wouldn't age, is kind of the idea.
But if you came back...
Yes, then time has shifted everywhere else. Yeah, exactly. Is that something that you're interested in, actually? That'd be an
look,
interesting thing to talk about.
after the conversation that we had last time, remember I said I was afraid internally to think about these things that I had no grasp on, and it would scare me, just the
scale of it.
Scale of it,
yeah.
Since that conversation, I've been delving into to more stuff along the lines of what we discussed. So I'm sort of opening up my. That's great. I've faced that fear, and I'm just trying to generate or accumulate more knowledge.
Yep.
I'm like, fuck, this sounds really fucking stupid.
Yep.
And for a 53-year-old person to say it is probably fucking insane. I Googled what is a star.
That's. I mean, most people, even the fact that you're doing that at 53, most human beings who have walked the planet, right, billions of people have come and gone, don't know what a star is or how it works. So
a star,
it's fantastic,
is basically a sun.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
So our sun is our star.
That's right.
Right. So every star that you see in the sky is a sun.
Yes.
Somewhere in the universe.
Correct.
That fucking blows my mind.
Right.
Absolutely fucking.
And that's just a small thing that, like, look at what that did to your understanding of what you see when you look up at night. Incredible, right?
It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
It is absolutely insane.
Yeah. And did you get into? Have you explored light speed and how sort of time works and how far away those stars are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Because obviously the light that we see is light that's travelled all that way so that's how they know how old the universe is, from the light and how long the light's taken to get to us.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly. We say the universe is 13.8 billion years old because it's the oldest light we've captured.
And they reckon there's more light
right.
coming, so they reckon it's expanding. So
well, and that's why it looks like it grows over time, right? Because if you go, well, we've only been here for 13.8 billion years, and so light is the fastest thing that moves, and so it's only had that amount of time to get to us. So that's where the edge is, because we see with light.
Yes.
And so if we wait another billion years, there's another billion years of light that will arrive, and so it will look like the edges grow out by another billion light years, right? And so we don't technically know. And also, like, you're always at the center of the universe because that's where you're observing from. So if you look at you're in the middle of a sphere, right? Because when you look around, you capture light evenly in all directions. You get a bubble of where the light stops, and then that keeps growing. And so if you were at the edge instead, your sphere of observability would be from that point.
Yes.
Right. So you're always at the center of the universe, which is kind of interesting. Right?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. So, like, I don't know if we know where the absolute center is, but you're always at the relative center of the universe.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, look, back to 3i Atlas.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. So
it's called 3i because apparently it's the third type of comet, or it's not an anomaly. It's a foreign object.
Yep.
We've got a short video there, Matty, just slightly explaining. This is one we've just pulled off.
Yeah, sure. Let's
TikTok.
have a look.
Just so you have a look.
A mysterious object is hurtling towards Earth. Could it be an alien spacecraft? This is the 3i Atlas. At first, scientists thought it was just a comet, but it's missing something every comet has: a tail. And that's not the only weird thing. Top Harvard professor Avi Loeb is sounding the alarm. He says this Manhattan-sized object might be glowing from the front, not the back. Scans have found carbon dioxide gas around it, but strangely, no water, which is a key ingredient for comets. Plus, its path seems perfectly aligned with the planets in our solar system. A natural rock this huge is so rare, we'd only expect to see one every 10,000 years. So, is it a threat? We simply don't know. Right now, NASA is aiming a camera at it from Mars, and the world is waiting for new data from the Webb Space Telescope. Is it just a weird rock, or are we about to get a visitor?
Ooh.
Very interesting. There's a few things that stand out to me there, and them saying it doesn't have a tail, right? Just means that, because primarily a lot of comets are made of ice.
Yeah, so it's the water in that coming off.
Yeah, the
back
vapor,
of it.
exactly, as it's
as
melting, as it's coming towards the sun, right?
Yeah.
And so I suppose that suggests that it's not comprised of those materials. It might be something more solid, like, maybe it's made of iron or something, right? But also the fact that it's glowing from the front, my brain goes straight to, if it's facing, so if the sun's behind us, so if the sun's behind you and me right now, we've got our back to the lighting in your studio here, and an object's coming at us forwards, then that light's going to reflect off the front of it.
Right.
With a comet, it would do that as well, but with the ice trailing off the back, if you observe it, that probably reflects more light, so it probably basically blinds out the light reflecting off the front, right? Sort of like looking through a window at nighttime. You can, if there's no light coming in from the outside, you can see your reflection. But as soon as someone shines a car light, if they turn the headlights on, it comes through, you can't see yourself anymore.
That's correct, yeah.
Because it gets washed away. Even though the reflection's still there, the light coming through is more powerful. So my intuition, and I'd have to go and look at this, says that in what my brain's saying to me is that if there's a tail off the back of that, it's probably reflecting more light, so you can't see the front of the object as clear. And so without that, maybe that's why the front of it's glowing, because we've got unobstructed light reflecting off the sun, off the front of that meteor or whatever it is, right? The comet, the block of whatever the hell it is. So it's pretty interesting though.
Well, the one comment they made that she made was, should we be worried? No, we shouldn't, because it's not on a trajectory to impact Earth.
Yeah.
It's going to pass by us.
Yeah.
They're worried about the speed. Well, they're not worried about it. The speed of it's something like 135,000 miles an hour.
Yep.
Which is quicker than anything else that they've tracked in the universe.
Yep.
In our universe.
Yep.
But the conspiracy theorists are having a fucking ball with this one.
Oh, of course.
This is a big mothership hurtling through the universe specifically to come to us.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if they're going that fast, they're going to have to slow down.
Well, they'd be starting to break. Like when's it coming through?
Apparently November sometime.
Oh yeah, you'd have to start if you're traveling that quick.
Putting on the brakes.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have to flip. I think it's. Have you seen the TV show The Expanse?
No.
Really fantastic science fiction TV show. Probably one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. It's based on novels, but they do a lot of stuff that other science fiction shows don't do, where they actually explain how to decelerate in space, but they don't explain it. They just show you. So rocket ships usually have rockets on one side.
That's correct.
And what they call it a flip and burn. So as you're approaching your destination, you rotate and then you accelerate backwards. Yeah.
Right.
So you'd expect that to be doing this, right? Because they'd have to start dropping G's, like, to actually, otherwise they're just going to smash right into us or overshoot, right? Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, the other thing that, like, if you want to look for, I suppose, inorganic behavior too, you've got to observe it and see, does it change trajectory in a way that makes no sense, or does it accelerate in a way that makes no sense? So if it's flying at a constant rate, it's probably just a big rock.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and although it's going that fast, it just means it's probably been flung around a bunch of other heavy objects that have like slingshotted it, and it's picked up speed in the past, and it's remained at a constant speed for however long, wherever it's come from. But it is cool. Like it's a lot of fun. It gets people talking about space and thinking about life, which is good.
Definitely. So
But yeah,
I don't think we've got anything to worry about.
I don't think so either. No. Yeah, I don't think so either. Because I was saying earlier when you asked me about it, and I hadn't heard about this, and I don't know when this one's due or if we've already passed the window. But there was something that I'd heard about maybe 10 years ago. There was an asteroid coming that had some percentage chance, very small, that if its trajectory was bumped, there was a small chance that on its way past through our solar system, that it might change its trajectory by falling through a gravity window that they couldn't predict. As it goes around another planet, it just gets nudged. And then that would put it on a trajectory that it would go past the Earth, and something like 20 years later, it would actually circle back around and land on us. But it's like we'd have a decade or more to figure out what we're going to do about it. But I don't know if that ever came or not.
Well, there's a lot of fascinating stories online with regards to what you would do if there was a comet coming.
Oh yeah.
If there was something aimed at us and it was going to eventually hit us. Now we know that that's happened to the world, to Earth in the past.
Yep.
A cataclysmic event.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the dinosaur extinction event.
So we agree that there's been a cataclysmic event by a meteorite.
Yeah, that's
on
right.
Earth.
Yeah, we've got craters to prove that. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Same with the moon. It's interesting, the dark side of the moon, to quote the Pink Floyd album there. The other side that we don't see, because it's the way that it rotates around the planet, we just never see that side, actually has large craters on the other side, which suggests actually that even though it's so small relative to the Earth, it has been a protector, an unwitting protector at some point in the past of celestial objects hitting it instead of us, which is kind of cool.
And that was the other thing about the moon that I found out. It's like just the weird scaling of it all.
Yeah.
So obviously when we have an eclipse, how there's a perfect cover.
It is quite interesting.
With, as you say, with the scale of the Earth to the moon, to the distance to the sun.
Yeah.
All that's just blowing my mind as well too. And
it is. It is quite serendipitous actually, and I can see why people then, you invoke sort of intelligent design and all these sorts of things, or people do that, right? Because there's so many coincidences in terms of like, why is it the perfect size, right? It just lines up like that. That's absolutely crazy. And you may know this or you may not know this, but the moon. So evidence suggests that in the past, there were two planets in our solar system. So one was what we know as the Earth, and one was another one. And it crashed into us at some point during like very early planet formation, and a large chunk of that, like the result of that collision, broke off and got trapped in the orbit, and that became the moon. So effectively, two planets collided.
That's the theory?
Yeah, that's right.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's
so
fucking crazy.
Very early on, like way before life, like when things were still kind of primordial and, like magma and a bunch of earthquakes and no atmosphere and all that sort of stuff, just like a ball of molten iron. There was a collision. Yeah.
So we're talking about meteors before.
Yep.
So Mandy was saying that 10 years ago there was one that landed in Russia.
Yeah.
So
I never heard about this either.
10 years ago from today, or that's 2015, how do you pronounce that?
What's that? Chelyabinsk? Chelyabinsk.
Meteor exploded over Russia on February the 15th, 2013. This large near-Earth asteroid approximately 18 to 20 meters in size entered Earth's atmosphere, causing a powerful shockwave that shattered windows in the city of
Chelyabinsk? or
Thanks, mate.
Chelyabinsk or something.
Chelyabinsk.
It's going to be something like that.
And injured around 1,500 people. Shit, I bet you that didn't make the news in the Western.
I didn't hear about that one,
the
actually.
Western world.
Isn't it incredible that, compared to the size of the Earth, we're talking about something that 20 meters compared to you or me is pretty fucking big, but compared to the Earth, not big. 60
No,
foot.
exactly. I mean,
And it can do that much damage.
that probably started at maybe 60 meters, and as it came through, as they tail off. It's
Yeah,
gonna
well, it says here, it was disintegrated, right? So even that got chewed out. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And I think further down before, Matt, when you were scrolling, 7,200 buildings were damaged.
That's insane.
Yeah, from the shockwave, right? And the shockwaves are really interesting, right? Because they're, I didn't know this for the longest time, but a shockwave is just a byproduct of having oxygen and gas in our atmosphere, right? Because it's effectively just the compressed air from an explosion, which is insane that you can compress air so hard that as it moves along like a wave, it shatters windows and can break bones.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, it's like when you send a land vehicle at Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3, like every time you break the sound barrier, you get that giant shockwave that blasts off the front, the sonic boom.
Yep.
Insane, because it's effectively like all of the gas gets compressed on the front of the vehicle and then it just explodes past it. It's insane, and it's like if you catch that, like that'll break bones. Like,
Have you got Maddie? You got a sonic boom up there? We're gonna have a look at that video.
and it's cool that it's visual also as well, because it distorts light as it's happening, right? Like you get like this compressed gas, just you can see like light refracting through it. So it's very interesting.
So the last major event on Earth, meteorite wise, did this tie into Stone Age? Because obviously when you've got an impact on Earth like that, you've got a lot of stuff going up into the atmosphere, which would block out the sun, which would make things cooler. Is that the theory behind that?
That's the theory behind dinosaur extinction. Is exactly that. That obviously there's the impact site, which has a blast wave and a shock wave, which would have damaged all of the local habitation. But then you've got the other side of the planet. It's like, well, how did they go extinct everywhere? And it was exactly what you're saying. So a lot of dust particles and a lot of material and debris thrown up into the atmosphere, and of course like drift happens and all the particles move around the planet, and then it just more light from the sun's reflecting off the gas now and not getting through, so the Earth cools down, and then you get the ice age. Yeah, exactly. And so and the dinosaurs or larger life like that actually required far more calorie intake was unable to adapt fast enough.
So that was what 13,000.
Oh, the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were walking like in their peak, what is it, the Cretaceous period? It's like 65 million years ago or something like that. I can't remember how long ago the impact was, though.
Maddie, have you got that, mate?
Let's
have a look at the sonic boom first.
Yeah, it's all just compressed air, just getting thrown off the object. And that's exactly what happens when a grenade goes off or a bomb goes off, right?
So explain that. Explain the grenade. The same thing. It's the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? So because I think because we don't see air, right? Like it actually, there was a scientific experiment where somebody had to prove a long time ago that there is air, there's something in the atmosphere, because it's invisible to us, even in this room, right? I can see you, and I'm like, and if we didn't have this knowledge, and you said, oh, there's invisible particles in between us, I'd be like, you're insane. We can't see them. And I think one of the early scientific tests was somebody took like a slotted spoon, and they put water in it, and then they covered it with their hand, kind of like when you do with a straw, if you put it in your drink.
Yes.
And it stays in there.
Yeah.
And the explanation for that is because underneath the straw, like how does, like gravity should be pulling that liquid out, but underneath the straw, there's something in the space that is blocking the end of the straw, which is what the atmosphere is, right? It's gas. And so I think we often forget about that. But so when you get an explosion, like what's an explosion? Explosion is combustion of some kind of material at a really high rate. And what it does is it throws things away because it creates outward force. And you just think, oh, well, I feel that outward force because there's some kind of invisible thing that hits me, right? If you don't get hit by the flames or the debris, you still feel something hit you. And it feels like, oh, it just throws out a force. But the force that it throws out is actually, as it explodes in a single point, it's surrounded by air, and the air particles get pushed away. And they get pushed away so quickly that you can imagine it like sandwiching something together, right? So if you take anything and you compress it, it gets more tough, right? Like if you compress, even if you make a sand castle, right? You take loose sand, it doesn't do anything, but you wet it and you compress it, and all of a sudden you can make bricks out of it, right? So imagine if you take air particles, which is like sand grains, but they're really far apart, and you smush them together, you can create very, very stable objects in space that can hit you effectively, right? And it's the same thing. You stick your face out a window of a car going 100 kilometers an hour, and you feel it hit you like a wall. Right?
Well, that's a perfect example, isn't it? That's one everybody can.
Yeah. And that's just gas hitting you in the face at 100 kilometers an hour. So if a grenade blows up with an outward force of, say, 1,000 kilometers an hour, then the air gets shoved away from it at 1,000 kilometers an hour, and it would be like sticking your head out of a car doing 1,000 kilometers an hour on a freeway, right?
And that's why suicide bombers' heads go.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
Probably got to cut that. Probably got to cut that bit out. Oh, here. So we're talking about
that is the exact timeline.
So the asteroid that caused the dinosaur meteor hit 66 million years ago was a catastrophic event, approximately 10 to 15 kilometers wide.
As opposed to a 20-meter one in Russia.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That
That's
struck
huge.
the Earth, creating the Chicxulub crater at the Jesus Christ. Yucatan.
Yucatan?
Yucatan. It is Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact triggered a global chain of events, including a massive blast, heat wave, widespread wildfires, tsunamis, and a long-lasting impact winter caused by dust and aerosols in the atmosphere, which ultimately led to the extinction of 75% of the species on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting there they say non-avian dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that a lot of bird species actually are descendants of dinosaurs.
Correct,
right?
that's
Same
correct.
With chickens and everything, right? And you look at their feet. All you have to do is look at birds' feet, and you're like, that's their dinosaur feet.
Of course.
All right, you can see it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like movies like Jurassic Park, which is an incredible film from 1995, right? Steven Spielberg. You know, there's this idea of velociraptors that we had for a very long time, and they look very threatening in that film.
Clever girl. Who's the clever girl?
Clever girl. Yeah, exactly. Shoot her. And they look a very certain way in that because that was, you know, it was a nice aesthetic for the film. But actually, what real records suggest now is that velociraptors were feathered.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah?
They were feathered and smaller.
Oh, that's a horrible picture. I don't like that at all.
Right. That's not going to work for something that's meant to scare you.
No.
It might even look a little bit lame, right? I think they may still been dangerous, but they certainly don't look as threatening as, or probably didn't look as threatening as they do in the film.
Wow. You've just burst that bubble for me now.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
I'm never going to look at it the same way again.
Yeah. It's every time we meet, you're going to walk out with an existential crisis, being like, "What's going on here?" And on that, actually, to tie the dinosaur chat back to what we were talking about before about stars, because I think you might find this thought experiment interesting. We're talking about light speed, and I think this is an interesting thing I try to share with people. It's a very intuitive way of understanding light years. You know, because people hear the term light year and, you know, it's like what's a light year? It sounds like time because it's got the word year in it, but it's actually a distance. And so we use how far does light travel in a year as like a giant ruler, because the universe is so huge that, you know, if we tried to use meters or kilometers to talk about it, just the numbers would be too big. So you go, oh, cool, that's going to take, you know, 1 million light years instead of, you know, X amount of quadrillion, septillion, you know, kilometers, right? And the interesting thing about that is you're saying, you know, with the stars and they're X amount of distance away, and, you know, you're now thinking about them like they're the same as our sun. The interesting thing about that is that if you look at a star that's 600 light years away, and you can see it tonight, you go outside with no clouds and you go, that star might be 600 light years away. Where you're seeing it is where it was 600 years ago, because that's where it was in that moment when the light left and it traveled for 600 years. So if the star's here and the light comes out for 600 years, the star's moved, and then the light hits your eye sometime in the future.
So does that mean that every movement creates a new light source?
It's continuously shining light at every moment, right? But it's not.
It's not creating
still.
another light source. No, it's not like one star has, like, you look at the star in the sky. I can see the light from that.
Yep.
And then it's moved and it's created more light, and that's the star that's next to it shining that light. Does that work that way or not? Is that how? No, or am I just seeing one light source?
Yep. From a particular star, yeah, exactly. So it's effectively just a ball of hot gas shining light. It's just a light bulb, and it's constantly shining light, but it's moving at the same time, right? It's moving through space.
Yeah.
So if you go, cool, we know that that's moving at some particular rate per hour or whatever, and we know that it's 600 light years away. Actually, the star is, if it's moving that quick, 600 years, it would actually be somewhere over here now. That's where it really is now, but it looks like a black spot because there's the light. It's going to take 600 more years to get here. So we're seeing a delayed animation because the information that tells us where it is visually is taking hundreds of years to get to my eye. So it's like that light, those photons that show it where it is now, left the surface of that star 600 years ago. And then I walked outside tonight and I angled my eyes up and those photons went into my eyeballs. And they're 600 years old. And that's pretty cool already. Or it could be 1,000,000 years old, right? And I just happen to catch them with my eyes in that moment. And so it looks like it's there because that's the information I'm working with. So every star in the night sky is not actually where you're seeing it. It's completely different. But it's going to take us hundreds of years to see where they are now. But then they'll be hundreds of years further along, right? So we're always seeing the past. Even now, it's like if we're talking to each other, light travels at 370,000 kilometers a second. Right? I think I once worked out in, I think it was year 12 physics, that you could travel from Melbourne to Brisbane 180 times in a second if you could travel that quick.
Wow.
So like one. Yeah. It would look like I haven't moved, but I've just gone here to Brisbane and back 180 times, right? That's how quick it is. But because of that, it's not infinitely fast, which means that if I, wave at you right now, there's a slight delay because it takes a certain amount of time for the light to come off your lights and go to your eye. And then your eye has to take that, turn it into an electrical signal, put that in your brain. Your brain turns it into an image and then you experience it. And all of that takes time. So, and I've already finished waving, right? But it's so quick that it's pretty much one-to-one with what you're seeing right in front of your face. So it's fast enough that you're experiencing life in what feels like real time, but it's still slightly delayed. And so when over large distances, the delay is even more. It's like a gunshot, and it's so far away that the bullet hits you before you hear it, right? Because the sound takes longer to get to you. Yeah. Or an echo, right? Like you hear someone at a distance and they clap, and you hear no sound, and then the sound arrives later. Or thunder, same thing. Thunder always happens when the lightning happens, but we hear it after because sound takes longer to travel than the thunder.
Well, that's
from the
what you do is you count how many seconds between the thunder and the lightning to know how far the storm, whether it's coming towards you or it's going further away.
Exactly. Yeah, because you go sound travels at like 300 meters a second or whatever, right? So you can kind of work out, cool, if it's 3 seconds, about a kilometer away. Yeah. And the interesting thing there is that if the cloud that generated that sound is moving, which it is, then it shoots lightning here and goes, right? But you're a kilometer away. It takes 3 seconds. The cloud itself that made the sound is 3 seconds somewhere else now. It's moved. And it's the same with stars, but it's even more dramatic, right? So everything you see is a lie, basically. This is how we know, like even what I was talking about last time, the mind creates reality. The stars that we all see in the sky aren't really where they are. But it's pretty interesting, right? And the interesting thing about that is because light takes X amount of time to travel, and we just saw that dinosaurs were wiped out 66 million years ago. If we could teleport right now, 70 million light years away from the Earth, and we could look at it with a telescope, powerful enough to look at the surface, we would see dinosaurs walking around. Because 70 million years ago, some light bounced off them and went out into space, and it's still going. And so if we could get out there and capture it, we would see it in real time as if it's happening now. Dinosaurs walking around, because that's the information we would have access to at that distance. And we'd have to wait 4 million years to see the calamitous event wipe them out, right? It'd be like it's like a delayed movie, like 70 million years too slow, right? Pretty cool. And it's the same with radio waves. We've been shooting radio waves out, commercial radio for decades now. And radio waves travel at a certain speed because they're part of the electromagnetic spectrum.
We're talking about into the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you travel out, and you can look this up on the internet, like people have talked about this, like how far out the oldest radio signals will be. If you could travel out there now and you had a car and you're just floating around in space and your old Chevy or whatever, and you tune in to AM, you'd be able to listen to radio that happened 50 years ago because the radio waves are only just arriving at your antenna at that time, right? Wow. And it's the same with light, same with everything.
Is that why Elon put that car in space?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's interesting too because you think, well, if it does turn out to be extraterrestrial life, and we're around for billions of years constantly putting radio signals out, so at this point radio signals are billions of light years out, there may be a civilization somewhere that invents radio technology and they hear music coming from the universe. They hear Elvis. They're like, what the fuck is that? Right? And they might be capturing our radio signals from a million years ago.
So we've been chucking out all these messages for decades.
That's right.
Trying to attract attention. Do you think that's a good thing? If somebody's out there listening?
Yeah, it's interesting because in a way we're sort of, we are going, oh, we're over here, and in some ways, I mean, for our species at least, like we live in a cosmic oasis, in the giant vacuum of nothingness. We have basically this incredible blue marble that we live on with water and life. And so it's definitely worth protecting that. And it could be a risk to be sort of signaling that we're out here, right, before we have a chance to discover what's out there. Because, if you have opportunists out there that, want resources that we have or get curious or feel threatened by us, I mean, we're kind of welcoming that to our doorstep without having the control. So it is interesting. I think Carl Sagan, who was a cosmologist at NASA, I don't think he was in the camp of being afraid. He worked on the Voyager satellites that went out and took photos of, Saturn and Jupiter and everything. And one of the Voyagers now, when they decommissioned it, they just said, let's not bring it back. Let's just send it straight out as far as we can go until it runs out of battery, basically, until it runs out of fuel. I think it's got onboard like radioactive material that keeps it powered. And they've been slowly shutting down sensors on it to keep it going, and it's the farthest object that humanity's ever sent out. And on there is also a gold record, a disc basically that has laser etchings of it, and the people at NASA encoded it with certain information, and they put like an image of a human and like a man and a woman on there. They put music on it. So like,
I hope it wasn't fucking Elvis.
Some of there might be an Elvis track on there. Actually, I can't recall the track list. And they put also a representation of our location with it's almost like a star map.
Yeah.
To basically suggest where we are, which is a literal map to if you can work out these star configurations, you can find your way to us. So that's kind of interesting already, and I think that was a nice like project for humanity. It was like a fun idea, like a time capsule almost. When you're a kid, you bury it in the ground, you dig it up. Maybe someone else will find that, like a message in a bottle. But Stephen Hawking, on the other hand, I think was very negative on these things. He was like, it's a risk. Why the hell are we signaling that we're out here? Yeah, so it's again, if you ask me what my opinion is, probably always better to err on the side of caution. But then also, if it's a friendly race that's advanced and they can get to us and we can't get to them, it might be helpful for them to find us and go, hey, let's share in the fruits of our technology. But I don't know, if they're anything like us, might not be a good idea.
No, exactly. Well, as you say, there's not a lot. I don't have a lot of faith in humanity, to be quite honest.
Yeah, exactly. Because if I think. Yeah, like we've talked about this before, but yeah, just the nature of humanity and tribalism. I think anything that's evolved organically in a harsh environment is going to have problems like we've had, because you can't. Actually, one of the books that I've been reading that I mentioned to you deals with some of why that's the case in terms of how we've evolved, and I think that the chances are that if we find another organic species, they're going to have evolved on a planet that's had changing conditions. They've had to fight for their survival. They've probably had tribalism problems of their own. They're probably going to be very much like us. Different languages, maybe different bodies, different concerns, different need for survival. But if they're intelligent like us and they create information with their brains like we do, they're probably going to have problems like we have. I don't think that there's going to be anything out there that's going to evolve in a stable environment that's just going to be perfectly harmonious. Because I don't even think you would get complex life in an environment that was perfectly harmonious. It's almost necessary for us to have problems, I think. So yeah, I don't know where I sit on the fence with that. Part of me is like, isn't it amazing that we can send things out into space and maybe someone else will find it or something else? I think that's pretty cool, but also who the hell knows what will happen. Yeah.
Let's take a break. This podcast is brought to you by Holy Shirt Australia. Holy Shirt Australia are 100% online. They're Australia's largest no minimum custom print and embroidery company. All their services are completed in-house and they can deliver all orders promptly and professionally. They like to keep it simple and straightforward, so they offer cool stuff that can be custom printed or embroidered to your liking. They have an easy-to-use online designer to build your custom apparel from the comfort of your home or office. They offer pricing that reflects your individual order, and remember, there are no minimum on all their products. They deliver what the customer expects when they expect it. They've got over 1,500 products ready for you to custom print or embroider today, right now. So head to holyshirt.com.au for all your custom clothing requirements. And we're back. We're back, baby. Hey, Buckfast.
Buckfast, second round for me.
Keep the sponsors
Cheers.
happy. Joe and Rob.
Is it ever too early to?
No, not at all.
Oh well, we're at 11 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah,
we're almost in the PM.
It's afternoon somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Cheers.
Exactly. Cheers, mate.
Thanks to Rob and Joe, Chapel Street Cellars. Buckfast makes you fuck fast. Apparently,
There's a pitch.
it's good, isn't it? Hey, last time you here, we had our segment Dead or Alive.
Yeah. So
You
it's
enjoyed it?
still here. It was good. Actually, I didn't expect it. So
Well, it's back again.
it's back. Is it better?
Oh, we've made a few tweaks, mate.
Nice,
Made a few
nice.
tweaks. Let's see what you think about this one.
All right. Was that song there last time? Is that new?
My kid used to sing this when he was younger.
Yeah. It was on a commercial at one point,
Yeah,
wasn't
they
it?
teach it at school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, what do we got here? Oh, shit.
Is this intentional? I'm trying to work out if this is intentional and where is this happening?
I have no idea.
This is in Africa somewhere. Wow, their talent shows are way more unhinged than ours.
There he goes, off with the pants. Man,
Where's he going? He's not on fire anymore.
he's running off to get some new undies because he just shit those ones. So let's, right from the start, Matty. So we've got a guy who's got a stick out of his mouth that's lit.
Yep.
Right, and he's put it down his pants.
I want to know what he was trying to achieve.
Mate, look, there we go. So he's got right there. So
Yep.
he's got a stick of fire, and he's chucked it down his pants, and basically set his cock on
Yeah, like
fire.
it looks like he's trying to do a windmill right now, isn't he? Is he trying to do a cock windmill where it's on fire? Is that? And it's just got out of control. His pubes probably went up.
All I was gonna
Probably what
say
happened.
is he's obviously got a big set of pubes because that went up for like a bushfire.
Is
mate.
he gonna be? You know what like burnt hair smells like, right? Like
Oh,
how's
no.
that room?
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Pork crackle.
Oh, what do we got next, Matty? Oh, he survived.
He survived?
Third
Yeah,
degree
absolutely.
burns on.
I don't
his-
know if his dignity survived.
All right, stop this, Matty. Stop it right there. Now, paint the picture, mate. We've got a big fuck off bull that looks
Inside
like,
a marquee.
inside a marquee type marketplace. There's some. I don't know, it sounds Indian, but this fucking bull is just chilling, Matty. Got some music going. People standing around. Bull's not. He's minding his own business, and then next thing you know,
Oh, he's out cold. He looks like he was out.
some
just
white,
ragdolled.
some large white dude chucks some money at the bull, and the bull's gone, fuck off, and just spun him in the air.
He looks like he weighs nothing. It almost looks fake how easily it throws the guy.
The guy's probably what 130 kgs.
Oh
by the looks
yeah,
of him?
definitely. He's not short either.
Oh, and
But he's out for the count.
fucking sack of
Like
potatoes.
he's alive, but he's out. He looks like he's out cold when
Why?
he lands.
I just don't understand why.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good for us because it gives us
totally.
a good.
He's probably
content.
he's
Good
probably a
con-
tourist, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh.
there's nothing worse than white tourists with animals in foreign countries. Like you gotta have a poke.
Yeah.
Gotta get in there.
Maybe he got stitched up by the locals and said, "Hey, go chuck a couple of dollars at this bull,
bull.
and it'll be good luck for you."
That bull likes money. Go give him some baht.
So be careful. Anywhere. What do they say? Don't work with children or animals.
Yeah.
Simple as that. What do we got next, Matty?
Oh god. Love a good pocket bike. That's it. That's
Stop
it.
that, man.
I'm like waiting for. I'm like, is someone going to crash? Is this going to get hectic?
I was putting that together and scrolling through the content. I go, fuck, that's hilarious.
That's got to go in there. Yeah.
Can we have a quick replay of it? So for anyone that's just listening, it's a whole lot of grown ass men on these little mini bikes,
Pocket bikes.
little pocket bikes.
Yeah. I had one of these at one point actually, a pocket bike.
I've got one sitting in the shed at
Oh,
home.
yeah?
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
They make a cool sound.
Meow.
That was purely for my own enjoyment. Oh, what is it? Oh, mountain bike ramp.
Oh, he's eating his tire.
Oh, look at that.
Oh no, he's eating his he's like part of his chassis.
Oh, bit of whiplash. Back that up. So the guy's tried to do a backflip on a mountain bike ramp, and he's come off
Yeah.
and then slammed into his
It's
bike.
like his neck. He's like clotheslined himself on it.
That's insane.
Mountain biking like that is pretty scary. So somebody that when I was Twitch streaming back in COVID and I became friends with people overseas because of different time zones, I was on late. This friend of mine from the UK, her friend, he's a professional mountain bike rider, and he ended up completely screwed in hospital. And she showed me the video of the accident because he had a GoPro on, and he went over something larger than that actually and tried to jump. I think it might have even been like train tracks. And it didn't go well, and he's landed on the bike, and the forks bent, right? And so he's crashed. His whole body's crashed then into the frame because he hit that hard that the chassis just bent out of shape, basically. Wow. And he ended up shattering his feet basically into dust.
Ugh.
Yeah, and so he had to do rehab, and he's in pain every single day now. It feels like walking on broken glass for the rest of his life.
Oh, I bet you that'd be fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But he still gets out and rides.
Oh, of course. Well, that's the thing. You can't keep a good man down, can you?
Lives for it.
Awesome. Do you mountain bike yourself?
No, I haven't done it ever since I was a kid, and certainly nothing at this level. The closest thing I do to this is snowboarding, and I've just started doing jumps in the park, but not mountain biking. What about you?
Yeah. Always done mountain bike. Love it. Yeah, it's good. I love being out in the nature.
How much do you push it? Like how hairy does it get?
Oh, look, I've always been a downhill guy. Look at it, because I used to race motorbikes.
Yep.
But the worst thing about mountain biking is getting to the top of the hill.
Oh yeah.
I struggle with that.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. But I love the downhill.
That's where the reward is.
You won't fucking catch me for I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm gone. And yeah, the trouble is with my age now, I go out there and I just go fucking bunter, and you hurt yourself, and you hurt yourself big.
Yeah. Sure.
So I've had a couple of big offs. But
it's interesting doing stuff like that because I can relate to that through loving snowboarding, and in my brain I'm like, especially with snowboarding, because you can only do it in Australia like 2 to 3 months a year, right, because of the conditions. And you're like, right, so if I got that by X amount of years, what age will I be when it's my last time and I give it up because I can't do it anymore? How many seasons have I got left?
Well, that's the thing about
It's a
Leeward.
sad thought.
That's the thing about Leeward is like we're putting into perspective how many more summers, how many more winters have you got, how many more snowboard trips. How many more holidays do you have? You know? And I'm the same with my snowboard. So instead of going 1 or 2 days here in Victoria and having sketchy conditions and shit, risking we just go overseas.
Yeah.
In February we go to Japan. And then you've got these pristine conditions, and you've got 2 weeks of good consistent riding.
Yeah.
And that's how you get better
you get
as a
it.
rider.
Yeah, totally, exactly, because you can predict it and you can go back day to day and build on it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, whereas you've got 1 day. As I said, if I go up here 1 day, and even if the conditions are pretty good, I'm going to go fucking bunter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hurt myself.
Yeah. Visibility's shit, or it's icy or wet.
Yeah.
Where in Japan do you usually go?
So I went to Niseko.
Yeah, that's where I went
for the first time in 2003.
Okay.
So I tell the story. I was on a domestic flight in New Zealand, and there was an article in the magazine that they have on the flights about the fridge bar in Niseko, or Niseko.
Oh, the fridge door.
The fridge bar.
Yeah.
The fridge bar. Yeah. So I looked at that and I go, fuck, I'm there. And
that was all it took. That's cool. Love it.
I travelled there by myself. I tried to get on a tour that was going there. And they said, look, just align your travel with that. And I met a lot of great people, met some great friends.
Yep.
So I've been 8-9 times back there. So we also go to Rizutsu as well too. Yeah, Rizutsu's got some really good
Incredible.
terrain. Yeah.
And it was nice too because so I went to Japan for the first time last year, and I went to Niseko, and so did what is it, Annapuri and all those mountains, and then went to Rizutsu and did the bus trip out there a couple of times.
Yep.
And the first time I went out there, I was hungover though, and I was like breathing air out of the window on the bus, like out of this tiny slit. And this Austrian guy who was in a full onesie, skier, warm enough, he's like, "Can you close the window?" And I'm like, "This is my fucking lifeline, man. Like, do you want me to vomit?" And then got to Rizutsu, and it was the best and worst snowboarding day of my life.
Yeah.
The best because it was the most incredible environment that I've ever seen. It was like whipped cream, right? Less infrastructure, so less people.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just incredible. It's like something out of Narnia or a movie, right? But I get I've since found out that I have high arches, and so I get intense foot pain in my arches from snowboarding, which I still need to fix with orthotics or something. Yeah. And I was in so much pain that day that I nearly cried from it. And I was so frustrated because I just want to ride.
Yeah.
This is the most incredible environment I've ever seen. And actually, I had oxys with me because of kidney stone pain that I'd had, and I still had I had these in my travel bag. And so I popped 2 oxys and was off my head. And I spent,
nice.
And I just rode the rest of the day. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was great. It was so good.
I do my best riding after lunch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you got the morning to warm up.
Yeah, sure.
Get your eye in, and then you go have some lunch. The great thing is like the food up there. Get a chicken katsu and a beer.
Yeah.
And you get a beer, big can of Asahi into you, and then after lunch, man, everything's just so much easier.
Yeah.
You know, you're putting less effort in, and you're getting a better ride out of it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but Rizutsu's good. Not a lot of people know about Rizutsu. It's not as well documented on the socials.
It's not as touristy.
Like Niseko. It doesn't have, as you say, it doesn't have a lot of those bars and shops and stuff, which is good because it's old
a bit
school.
more old school, exactly.
When I went to Niseko in 2003, there was maybe one restaurant that had English menus.
Yeah.
And the rest you just had to figure it out.
Yeah. You just got to work, which is part of like it's a nice cultural experience, right?
Oh, well,
but Niseko is now what they call it, Little Australia or something. It's just tourists everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
half owned by Australians. I mean, that's probably the one thing that I didn't do back then was you could buy land over there quite cheaply.
Oh yeah, imagine that.
That would have been exactly because the summers over there are just as amazing as the winters.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, they've got mountain bike and there's golf courses,
hiking,
and everything.
and
exactly.
And just on the snow quality before we go back to this, like it's incredible how different it is to here, right? Like here we get a meter base or something, and there it's
if
like
you're lucky,
yeah, and there they'll have like 30-40 meter dumps like for the whole season, right? That's the total amount, so you're several meters off the ground at any time. And I'd never experienced anything like that in true powder, right? So like hitting powder, I had a powder board, or I've got like a kind of an all mountain ride board. It's a little bit fat on the nose, so you can float on powder, but you can also ride it in park because it's a bit shorter, real flexy. And but riding powder for the first time and hitting that and just feeling like you've really got to build speed, and you've kind of got to commit to get through the powder, because if you stop and you get off, which happened to me a couple of times, you're basically up to your waist.
It's fucking frustrating.
And it kills you trying to climb out of that.
And it sucks all your energy, mate.
Sucks all your energy. So I got to the point where at the end of the trip where I kind of knew how to deal with it, right? And you just pick up speed and just gun it and just hit the powder and just cruise.
Yep.
And the snow was so high that I went under a fence line and I'd just go across this untouched powder, basically like slaloming between the poles for the chairlift. But the snow is so high, the chairlift was so low that I was crouching to not have people's skis hit me.
Really?
And I was hitting the bottom of people's snowboards and like fist bumping people on the way past.
That's cool, man.
And over here, it's like you have no hope in hell of ever getting that close to a lift, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know why the snow's so good? It's because of the weather system that comes off Russia.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just one place in the world that has this perfect combination.
Yeah.
And that's why you get that snow. And the thing is that if you've snowboarded or skied and you haven't done powder, do yourself a favour and go seek it.
Go
seek it.
Go.
It is, because once you've done it, it's just like you just cream your pants.
Oh, it's incredible. And you just hit it, it's just silent, and you look down, you can't see your feet. Like you're just buried, but you're just moving, and it's just silky. There was one run I did on Annapuri actually, where I found this. Like I went with my mate who was my old boss, and he's an avid snowboarder, and he goes to Japan every other year. And he took me because his mate dropped out, and I just said, look, let me know. And that's how I ended up there. And we went down this run together, and then we broke off. And he went down a gully, and I went somewhere else, and I went through trees. And it was amazing. We met at the bottom, and I said, look, I just found this amazing tree run. Let me show you. So we go back up. And of course, I didn't know the terrain well enough. So as I've tried to find the place that I was at last time, I completely got lost in the trees, and we went off piste basically, outside the resort. And we ended up, when we stopped, we were basically in a suburban street that had been snowplowed. And we just unbuckled and jumped into this snowplowed, like basically this road, and we had to walk back. And we were about 1.5 k's out of the resort. Yeah. But it was the most incredible moment of my snowboarding life because no one had been down there. Neither of us came off. It was pure powder the whole way. And we got through this, like effectively this whipped cream forest just with trees poking out. And there's a really good snowboarding documentary that I love by Red Bull called The Art of Flight. Have you ever seen that one?
Yes. Yep.
And it's got incredible music on it by, is it M83? There's this incredible track that's on there that's just epitomizes snow. It just feels like snowboarding after seeing that documentary. And I had my playlist on, and it was unplanned. But as I hit that run with him, where we didn't know where we were, and it was just incredible, that song came on.
Wow.
And it was just amazing. The only thing that sucks is that before that, we were at the summit, and my GoPro, I didn't realize they lock up at under 8 degrees Celsius, or -8. So it completely locked up. So on the way down, we dropped then back into temperature it would have worked, but it was completely frozen. So I got none of that on. It's just in our heads. Yeah.
You know, the thing is that really doesn't translate. You know, sometimes the video or the photos and stuff never really recapture
the moment
or the memory. It's the smell. It's all these
it's
senses.
The way it came together.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that was my next question: is did you drop off the summit? You hiked the summit?
Did the summit?
Yeah,
so
you've got to do that there.
Yeah, on the single seat lift on the way up. Oh man, never done anything like that before.
Box. And I was it's a bit scary, isn't it?
Oh my holy shit! It was windy. It was fucking cold, and it's basically just a bent metal bar with a seat welded onto it.
They call it the pizza box because it's about the size of a pizza box. The seat on it.
Oh yeah, it's just this tiny little wood plank.
It's got two little rails, and
there's no front.
No.
You can just go and just fall off if
you want. It's like a hook where you sit.
It's a hook, yeah.
And I just put my arms around and just hold it there.
Yeah, I do that as well. Yeah, exactly. And try to get my phone out so I can like take a photo or something. When I'm like, if I drop this, I'm fucked. Yeah. And then I got up there, and look, I've snowboarded on steep terrain before. But the nature of the coldness up there, like I'd never experienced anything like that. And I know in other countries like Canada, it gets even colder, right? And you can't appreciate it until you've been in it because it's dry. And so when you're looking around, you're like, it doesn't look cold. But I didn't have my neck warmer on. I had it in my pocket. And so I'm up on the summit and I thought, I want to put this on because I'm really cold. So to do that, I've got mittens. I have to take my gloves off. I have to take my helmet off and I got to put this thing over. In the 90 seconds it took me to do that, when I went to put my goggles back on, and on the back of your helmet, where the strap is, sometimes you'll have a thing that you hook over, got a bit of elastic. Yeah. I couldn't feel where that was with my hand. My hand completely lost feeling in 90 seconds, right? Because of how frigid it was, where I couldn't find it. So the only way that I could find where the clip was to flay my hand on the helmet and push it until my hand stopped moving, because that's how I knew I'd bumped into it. I had no feeling. Yeah. Couldn't get my hands back in the gloves, right? Because they felt 3 times the size. Even though they're like the static feeling on my hand was like I had a giant hand, and it was 90 seconds, and you think I can see now how people freeze to death.
Well, that's up the summit's about -20.
Yeah,
I think, somewhere around that.
Never experienced anything like it. And then after that, you sort of sit down, you buckle in, and it's about that steep off the drop off. And then you sort of like, well, I just jumped on my toes and rode the face around, and we went around to the other side of the mountain. But at that point, you're like, behind me is almost a sheer drop, and if I slip right now, it's a trivial fall, but what happens after that will not be trivial. The mountain will decide when I stop. Like if I just, even though I'm going slow, if I just go, whoop.
Yeah.
The mountain will take me.
You just got to send it up the top there. That's my mentality with stuff like that.
I'm just not thinking about it.
It's just send it.
Yeah. Just go.
Yeah.
Yep. Just go. And got through it obviously, and it was great. But it's pretty confronting. Like there was a moment up there where I thought there are people I snowboard with here, like my sister, and I've pushed her to do some stuff that's out of her comfort zone. I probably wouldn't take somebody up there unless I articulated to them exactly what it was beforehand. Because there are people I know that'd be like, I can't do this.
Oh, it'd be very daunting for a lot of people. Even just the ride on the single chairlift would scare the shit. Yeah. And that's the thing is like generally you find there's people that I'm going to give it a crack. Yep. Or it's like, nah, it's off. It's not even on the menu.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Don't even talk to me about
exactly. And people that I know who are semi-competent riders, like it depends on the riding you like to do. Like some people love being in the park, or some people love doing like Euro carving or whatever, but they don't like say riding steep terrain or really really high altitude stuff. And even me, I had to have a conversation in my head and just go, just don't think about it. Do what you always do. Just get up and go.
Be in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, you brought back a whole lot of memories, man.
So good.
We're actually heading back there. Me and my son Mav are heading back there in February.
I'd love to go for. We should go for a board sometime. That'd be awesome. I'm always looking for people to go riding with.
And we're still got to do a workout too.
And we got to do a workout. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't forgotten about that. Actually,
Did you bring your gym gear with you today?
I didn't. No, I didn't.
Next time, mate. We'll get you next time.
I'll come out for one even without doing this.
Oh, for sure. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, back to we got sidetracked there.
We
for a little
did.
bit. It was sidetracked for a good reason.
It was very good.
A very good reason. What do we got now, Matty? What's next? Oh, what do we? How did that get in there, mate?
There's always a fun bags one in here, isn't there? So I'm noticing a trend here.
Let's just pause that, man. Matty, did you put that one in there? He's giving me a thumbs up.
I don't think that was me. No,
I want to know.
I think Michael hacked us.
Is this AI? Is this let's have a look at those fun bags. Is that AI or are they real? That's real.
That's real.
That's a real deal.
I think. I mean, AI is it's getting pretty good, but it looks real.
And just for anybody that's listening, we're looking at a young lady on a horse with a bikini top on.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of physics happening.
You can imagine there's a bit of jiggling going on.
There's fluid dynamics.
Thanks for that, Matty. That really piqued my interest. What do we got now? What's going on?
What was he? I kind of need to. I need to see Matt's token slow mo here. He like popped a can and then what was he putting it on?
So obviously it's what are you in a can of gas or it's not paint?
Something flammable, yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait a minute. So hold on a sec. So he's got a gas torch there. See the yellow thing?
Yeah. He does. Yes, he does.
That looks like a differential or something next to it.
Yep.
And he's gone and taken a can of what you presume is some sort of aerosol, some flammable.
Like throttle body cleaner or something. It could be like an accelerant.
Brake cleaner or something. No,
maybe?
Is brake cleaner? Yeah, it could be brake cleaner. So he's whacked it on the side of what looks like a deck.
Oh, and he's gone to carry it over, has he? Like, is he trying to go over the torch to actually, like, soak whatever that other thing is?
Can we go through that slowly, Matty? Just so he's cracked it on the side there, so it's exploded.
Yeah.
He's turned round. Go frame forward.
I feel like, is he trying to lift it over it? Like I just don't know what he's trying to achieve.
Neither do I. I mean, the gas torch is obviously going because that's ignited.
That's right.
That's ignited that.
Yeah.
So if it's sort of like it looks like he was trying to clean that.
Because then I'm like, my brain's just like, why aren't you just spraying it?
Yeah.
That's wild. Because I don't know huge amounts about like motor mechanics, but recently I fixed a lawnmower recently, and I had to dismantle the carburetor, and so I got throttle body cleaner in there, and realized that it started briefly because the throttle body cleaner works as an accelerant for a moment. Yeah, but then it wasn't getting fed fuel properly, so then it would die after that. So I was learning a heap about it on the way through. So, but I know that stuff is quite flammable, right? Because it can work as an accelerant. So in my head, with my limited knowledge, I'm like, what is he trying to do with this? He's obviously got a naked flame sitting there. It's crazy.
Well, once again, I can smell burnt hair.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That arm is definitely getting a free wax.
Roll that through, Matty, and that's that. Oh, geez, you like the titties, don't you, buddy? Here we go. Once again.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to go to that whatever that black thing is, right, with it. Yeah. But he's gone over the flame.
Anyway,
like an idiot.
We'll be right back. There you go, dead or alive. Nobody got hurt.
No one got hurt. Yeah, exactly.
Just a few singed pubes.
Yeah, exactly. Just a few burnt hairs.
Oh, dear, that was fun. I put that together for my own amusement.
Yeah, absolutely. Although that middle one was for Matt's amusement, wasn't it?
Matt, I didn't. Matt must have slipped that one in, because he does have access to the.
He's got the keys to the kingdom.
To the editor. Yeah, exactly. Mate, what we talked about the snowboarding. What were we talking about? Fucking use your words, Brendo. Try to get them out. What were we talking about before we went to break? We've covered the.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
No, stop! I'm gonna get this right. Jesus Christ! So before we went to break, we were talking. We've discovered we've.
Oh, fuck! I love it. I've been there.
Before we went to break, we were talking about dinosaurs, meteors.
Yep.
We touched on the Giza Plateau a little bit. Mm-hmm. Stars, fucking stars.
Stars, yeah, exactly.
Blowing my mind.
Yeah, we're talking about light speed, all that sort of stuff, and light year, like it being a distance, and being able to see stuff that's further out or in the past, right?
What about this theory you've got on fires?
Yeah, so we're talking about that just briefly in the break, right? So and I think it's worth touching on, because this is one of two things I usually try to tell people who aren't hugely into science, because I think it's another fun one, just like the dinosaur thing. Like when you say, oh, if you were 66 million years away, light years away, and you look at the Earth, you could see dinosaurs, people are just like, oh my God, like I can understand what you mean. And the fire one is amazing, right? Because and I sort of, when I said it to you before without going into it, I like to just say it and sort of see what people do with it immediately before I explain it. So it's like fire is sunlight. So when you're sitting there and you're in front of a fire, could be inside, could be outside, doesn't matter, bonfire, fire pit, fireplace, whatever, the light that's coming off that lights the room, and the heat coming off that you feel on your face is from the sun.
No, stop.
Right?
It's not.
And
You're talking about the sun.
Yeah,
our
sun,
star.
our star. That's
Our
right.
star. And this, so
That's right.
we're inside and we've got an open fire
Yep.
here.
Yep.
You're saying that's the sun.
It's the sun. Yep. So first of all, what would make sense to explain is what is light and heat. So light and heat generally is lost energy in some kind of system. So with the sun, what you have going on in the middle of a star is atoms fusing together, because there's so much gravity that they get smushed together until they fuse. And when that happens, there's an energy reaction. And that energy loss, there's energy lost from that. There's an explosion that happens. And that explosion comes out in the form of energy, which is heat, and photons, which is light. And then the star throws that off because it's exploding out, basically. It's like excess energy going geek. And that's why stars shrink over time, because they lose energy until they collapse, right? So given that that's what heat and light is, it's usually lost energy. So when you burn wood, if heat and light's coming out of it, there's some kind of energy conversion happening. So then you ask yourself, well, what is the energy inside the wood? Where did it get that from? Well, trees use sunlight to grow, right? So when a tree is growing, the leaves capture the sunlight, and they what is it like? I don't know huge amounts about plant biology. It's like chlorophyll or whatever, and there's a chemical reaction. They create glucose and all kinds of materials out of that, and they use that in combination with oxygen and nitrogen and nutrients from the soil to build wood, and they grow over time. What are they growing out of? Like trees aren't like you and me. They don't eat animals like to build their bodies. They eat sunlight and oxygen. Right? And they build wood. So the wood itself, the carbon in that wood, stores energy that they've captured from the sun. And it gets stuck in the wood, right? It's part of the structure of the wood. There's energy in it. And when you light it on fire, you basically introduce heat, and heat causes atoms to vibrate, basically, because they take on too much energy. And when they vibrate fast enough, they break off from each other, and then they turn into gas and they float away. And as they float away, they combust, because it becomes a gas. So as that wood's breaking down, it's releasing gas, and that gas ignites, and then it's self-sustaining. So the heat from the wood burning creates more gas, which ignites and creates flame. So the sun has fed the plant. The plants use sunlight to grow itself, and then you've released that energy by introducing heat again to the wood. And so the photons that are coming out and hitting your face are the photons effectively that were captured by the tree from the sun. Could have been 80 years ago or 100 years ago, however old that tree was. And so you're releasing it. And I think that's really incredible to know, because sometimes, and this is the poetic line I usually finish on when I explain this to people, is some people when they sit around a fire see fire, and some people see the sun. And you have to know how it works to see the sun.
You've got to understand the whole process, the whole cycle.
And because people might stop and think, oh, how does it affect my life to know all this stuff? Well, it doesn't really in a tangible way, but when you sit in front of a fire next time and you know that, you can tell somebody else that and watch their mind implode, and that's fun. And you can also sit there and know that there's a lot more going on than just this trivial piece of wood burning.
So did you guys get that? Did you understand it listening at home?
Hopefully it's palatable.
I hope so. But as you say, I mean, there's something mesmerising about sitting around an open fire.
Totally. Yeah, and that feeds back into our history, right? Because fire was safety. And once we mastered fire, we could cook food. So we spent a lot of time around it. And we'd tell stories. And it was also safety at nighttime. It would keep animals away, keep us warm. And so fire, effectively humans that liked fire survived more. And so it's bred into us now, just like storytelling, just like cooking. Fire is another thing now that's like in our DNA almost, quite literally.
So is the process with the tree, is that photosynthesis? Is that what it's called?
Exactly, it's called photosynthesis, that's right. And because they're basically synthesizing photons.
Right.
And that's your photosynthesis, yeah. And that's why photography is called photography, photons. It's capturing photons.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
another thing I've learned today. This is insane.
Yeah,
You're blowing my fucking mind.
Yeah, it's all these fun little things, right? And this is why, I personally go quite deep into these topics where it can get quite technical. But what I like to take out of it is to come back to the surface and go, out of that deep stuff, I can throw away 90% of it because it's a bunch of abstract junk. But what is the 2 or 3 things I can bring back to the surface and integrate with everyday knowledge? And that's what makes it relevant and fun. Because now you're walking around the world and you understand it just a little bit more. Like, why is the sky blue? People don't even know what that is. It's called the Rayleigh effect. And it's because in light, just like, again, to reference Pink Floyd again, like the album, you put white light through a prism and it splits into all the colors of the rainbow. Because all the colors of a rainbow are trapped in white light. And effectively when light changes speeds, it changes color. That's how your eye creates color. So if light comes into your eye more slowly, it's rendered as a different color than if it's faster.
So an LCD screen.
Yeah.
Explain how that break that, because that's what people can relate to.
Yeah.
With regards to color and.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So actually, I'll do a whole rant on color. It's another one of my favorite topics because color doesn't really exist either. It's a fully imagined concept, which is pretty interesting.
Did we touch on this last time? I think we did touch
we
briefly
touched on
it.
broad stuff.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we touched on color exactly. But I'll revisit it briefly here just to answer your question about light. So effectively, when light travels at different frequencies, right? So red is light moving at a particular frequency; it's higher frequency, and then blue is lower frequency. And so basically, the way LEDs work is they're fed different voltages, and then the light emits at a different frequency depending on the voltage that it's getting. And then that to your eye reads as red if it's within a certain frequency range. And if it's any higher than that, you can't see it, and that's infrared, which is beyond red. And we call that color infrared because the last color we can see where it stops is red. So we think that whatever comes after red must be more red somehow, but we can't know.
Yeah.
That's infrared. And then beyond violet, where it stops down the other end, we call it ultraviolet because we're like, whatever must be beyond violet must be more violety in some way, right? And so, yeah, that's effectively how color works. That's how it works with your eyes just tuned to pick up different speeds of light. But actually we see out of the entire spectrum of light frequencies that exist, your eyes are only capable of picking up about a grain of sand worth compared to a skyscraper. So if all of light is a skyscraper, we can see a grain of rice worth, which is the color spectrum in a rainbow. And that's what prisms do. When you shine a light through it, the light bends through the glass and it exits at different speeds, and so you get red through to violet. And that's how rainbows work. Same thing. So a rainbow will only ever work for you if there's rain in front of you and the sun's behind you. It cannot work in any other configuration. So next time you see a rainbow, be like, "Where's the sun?" And it'll be behind you.
Of course.
It'll be behind you because the light has to come from over your shoulder, and it has to enter a raindrop and refract inside. So if a raindrop's like a sphere of glass, let's pretend, the light goes in, it penetrates it. By penetrating it and it's inside the water slows it down and splits the colors out of it, and it bounces off the backside of the droplet, then down off the other backside and back out again like a mirror, and then you get the colors spraying out basically. So that's how rainbows work.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about the way our eyes work.
Yep.
If I'm colorblind, what is my eye not doing?
Effectively, it's not translating certain frequencies of light. And so let's say I'll just throw some plain numbers on it because I don't remember the actual frequency numbers. But let's say red is like 10 hertz and yellow is like 15 hertz or less than that, right? Or like 8 hertz or something like that. If you have a problem where your retina, or they're called photoreceptor cells in your eyes, aren't sensitive to that and don't turn on when they're getting hit by that light, then you won't perceive that color because the data doesn't go to your brain. That's basically what's happening. Like the back of your eye, your retina is covered in all these, they're called cones and rods, and they're sensitive. There's different types, and they're sensitive to different wavelengths of light coming in. So when light's in this range, these ones stimulate. And behind your retina, almost like a TV screen, so instead of LEDs, we have cones and rods. And behind that, we have lots of nerves, and they're like the wires in the back of a TV that wire to every little light in the TV. And that signal then travels down through your optic nerve, and it goes to your brain to an area at the back called the occipital lobe, which is responsible for just processing all of that. And when the brain first processes the image, it's actually upside down. And then it has to flips it around. So right now, your brain receives this room upside down. But
why does it receive it upside down?
So the other way to understand why that happens is if you take, so early cameras were basically just a box with a tiny hole in the front of it. It would let a small amount of light in, and then there's a panel at the back that captures it. And the first camera was actually developed and don't quote me on this, but I think the story goes, say there was someone in an ancient city somewhere, and they were sitting in a room, and the room had a hole in the wall, and there was light coming through, and it was basically like painting a circle of light, projecting a circle of light on the wall. And at certain times of day, or depending how the light was working, a person who was sitting in there noticed that every now and then they'd almost get like a faint image of what was going on outside, like projected on the wall. As the light came through, it was like the hole was somehow squeezing that light together in a way. But what happens is the image was upside down. And it's because if you take light like this, and you funnel it into a hole, light keeps going straight. So as it hits that hole, those lines cross over. Oh. And the image is upside down. So there's an inflection point. Yeah. And so if your eye is right at that inflection point, like you'll see the image straight. And that's that. And that's how the curvature of your eye works actually. So light hits your eye straight, and because your eyes the camera's there, so it's like your eye is curved like this, and light hits it straight, and that bends the light inwards to a point. And when you need glasses, it's because if your retina's here, the point where that image converges is either too early or too late. And so the image is not focused. So you put glasses on, and the glasses then bend it first before it hits your eye, and then it bends to the right spot. And then the light all hits right on your retina. And so because it comes in and it overlaps like this, actually the information is read inverse. And then your brain flips it around for your experience of it.
Fuck, it's amazing our bodies, eh?
Yeah.
It's insane.
And it flips it around. Well, it's like, why would it flip it around? Because if you walked around it upside down, you would probably die somehow, because it wouldn't be very useful.
No.
Yeah.
It's evolution, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And the other exactly that. And the other thing about color that's really interesting is all right, cool. So if we understand that, we've got Rasta Duck here, right? He's got some,
you remembered his name.
Rasta Duck, yeah. He's got some color on him, right? We've got green, yellow, and red, or what we call green, yellow, and red, and what our eyes see. And so you're like, well, how do I see the color on that duck, right? So you've got white light coming out of these lights, as I was saying, at a certain speed. If you slow that light down, it's going to turn into different colors, right? But it's not being slowed down in the room. It's just flying through it. Hits the duck. The material where the green band is, the light hits that material, and it absorbs every frequency of light into itself except for green, and it rejects green, and green gets bounced off, and then that's what your eye catches, right? So
whoa, hold on a tick.
Yeah.
Can I just hear that one again?
Sure. So the material, so light hits a surface, any surface.
So it's coming from there. It's hitting the duck right there.
The duck right there.
Yeah.
That paint has certain properties that absorb most of the light that hits it, except for the frequency of green. And the photons that are in that frequency, or the light that's in that frequency, gets reflected off the surface. And then your eye catches that.
So it's got, am I correct in saying it's got nothing to do with the actual paint itself?
That's right. Nothing to do with it, except for the fact that the paint has the properties that reject green light and absorbs every other type of light. That's it. So the green itself is an illusion. Like, that's not actually green. It's a type of material that rejects green from the surface.
Fuck, dude. Hold on. No, I'm not digesting this very well at all.
It's something that's like, if it's the first time you've heard it as well, it can take a moment. So, because effectively you think about it, like, I'm not seeing the duck. I'm seeing a photo of the duck. Light has bounced off it, and I capture the light and turn it into the duck, right? if I was to see the duck, I'd have to take the duck and jam it in my eye, and then the duck's data is inside my eyeball, right? But that'd ruin my eye, so I can't do that. What I'm only ever seeing is how light interacted with that object and came back, and then I read that and turn it into a photo. I turn it into a picture, and I turn it into 30 pictures a second, so things look smooth to me, like a movie. But effectively, it's a photo of what's in front of me. And so the information in the light is what determines the color, but the surface. So the surface is not green. The surface interacts with light, so that light coming off it is green.
I get that concept. Yep. And obviously, if there's no light,
that's why there's nothing. Which is why the room's pitch black if you turn the light off. And so intuitively you're like, of course it's pitch black, there's no light. But it's like physically, why is that? Because all of the information into your eyeball is stopped. There's no information coming in. And so what does reality really look like? Black. It looks like nothing. Because you don't see the universe. You see the universe getting in the way of light. That's what you see. So this room is literally objects getting in the way of light. And that light's getting manipulated or fucked with, and it comes back to our eye, and then our eye picks it up, and our eye goes, oh, cool, okay, I can read that, and it turns it into something.
But that doesn't take away the fact that it's a physical, inanimate object.
Correct.
Does it?
No.
It's just the perception of
what it looks like.
What it looks like.
What it looks like. So therefore, color doesn't exist. What we know is there's some kind of object out in space, away from me, like half a meter away or whatever that is, 50 centimeters. And it is blocking light when light hits it in some way. And then my eye just captures that and makes use of it. And that's it. I don't really know what that looks... Well, what that really looks like is pitch black. Because I'm hacking... In a way, our brain hacks light. Like, it's hard to articulate, isn't it? Because it's like you turn a light on and you go, of course I can see there's light. But it's like light is just a bunch of stuff bouncing around. And you're just hacking it. Like your brain's gone, I figured out how to make use of these things bouncing around. And then I turn it into an image. But the room is, what you see is in your head. There's no duck out here. The duck's in my brain. Because
but the duck's sitting right here.
There's an object there.
Yeah.
In that shape.
Yeah.
With properties that have my brain turn that into a duck. And then you see something that we both have been taught is called a duck. And then we agree that there's a duck there. But actually, there's a piece of wood in a certain shape. Right?
If it looks like a duck,
yeah, exactly.
It quacks like a duck.
It's probably a fucking duck. Yeah,
yeah.
And so that's how that works. So what's funny about that too is that technically, the color green there is every color except green, because green is the color that got rejected.
See, that blows my mind.
Yeah,
that completely just fucks everything that you thought you knew prior to that.
So real life is like a negative, like a photo. It's actually the opposite of what you think. But then again, the surface is not every color except green either, because color is what comes off it. So the color can only ever be green. But technically, what the surface is it's holding all the information except green. It just doesn't like green. It goes fuck off, and then it gets bounced off, and your eye goes, I'll take that, thank you. And turns it into something, right? So, it's interesting, right? Because if your eye worked differently or your brain worked differently, if you're a cat or a different kind of animal, your brain might turn that frequency of light into a different perception of color. And so if you're talking to a bee and a bee looks at this, it goes, that's not green, you're fucking crazy. That looks like something else. Who's right and who's wrong? No one. It's just your perception, just your experience. Right. And I think that's really interesting, right? Because everything is like that. It's the same as sound. It's like sound is just air that's been compressed into certain patterns, and then your eardrum has figured out how to vibrate that and turn that into I hear you speaking. But actually your larynx is just smushing air like this, and then the air moves across the room, and then my ear gets it, and then I turn it into something. Now what do I turn it into? I compare it against a library of words I've been taught my entire life, and I make meaning out of it.
If we're talking about perspective, you're saying who's right.
Yeah.
My perspective on that is different to your perspective.
It can be, yeah.
It can, if we're not talking about colour.
Yeah. And then, as you said before, if you're colourblind, even literally about colour, we know some people can't experience what you experience.
So if you think about that as far as the human race is concerned,
yeah,
there's certain things that obviously people should understand is all about perspective.
Yes.
Now it could be beliefs, it could be anything.
Yep.
So technically, I shouldn't think somebody else's opinion is right or wrong because it's based on their perspective.
That's right, exactly. And unless, and this is effectively the value of science to a T, is that people think science is chemistry and biology and physics, or it's like a lab that does some things. And it's like, that's how science is used. That's not what science is. Science is a way of looking at reality and saying, as human beings, we can never know the truth because we always live in our own heads and everything is modeled based on ideas that we've come up with, even science itself. So knowing that, we have this self-correcting system that we use to check ourselves. So I tell you, that's not really green, right? And you sit there and go, you're talking shit. And I go, you can go and you read a book on physics and a book on light that other people have written, not me. And you can then validate it for yourself. And you can go and understand what they understand. You can arrive at those conclusions yourself. And then, even though that's not truth, it's getting closer to it because we're removing opinion as much as we can. So it's not just about the fact that I've told you that's true. You can remove me from what I've told you and you can take the information and you can go and try to validate it against other things. And then we create this interlocking system of information that's useful and it tests itself constantly. And anything that's not doing that, you can't really trust it.
Well, that sounds like AI in a nutshell, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it's doing. It's testing itself and it's growing off its own knowledge.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's certainly getting to that point, and that's there's a term called the hard takeoff. Have you heard that term?
No.
So the hard takeoff is just describing when we get to a point with AI where human beings are no longer needed to develop it, and we take the AI and plug it back into itself, and it has access to its own source code and can update itself. And you get a hard takeoff because it will update itself faster, and then the next version of it will update itself faster because it's faster, and so on. And you get this hard takeoff. It's just an exponential curve, right? And that's definitely what we're hurtling towards. And there's a lot of people ringing alarm bells now, saying, just like waving our hands out to the universe and saying, "Hey, look, we're out here." AI is kind of the opposite direction to space exploration. If you think space exploration is from here out, and AI is us trying to create intelligence inward. And so we should also probably stop waving our hands around as we go deeper inward, because if we invent something superior to us, don't worry about aliens arriving. We're about to invent them. Because once that AI is able to address its own source code, there'll be a while where it will write better code in the code that we gave it so we can read it and understand it. And then it will go, these programming languages are really inefficient. And
it's going to make its own fucking language, isn't it?
It'll come up with a language that's more efficient.
Jesus.
And it can come up with a language that only the structures of the way it thinks is capable of processing. So our brains won't be able to. It won't mean you're not smart enough, or this guy's not smart enough, or maybe the smartest person in the world can do it. If the human brain's incapable of processing that because it goes against our structures of how our minds work, then we will never understand how it works ever again.
We're just going to become redundant, aren't we?
Right. And if it has a sense of self and it has independent goals as an agent, just like us, then forget about extraterrestrials arriving. We're about to invent them in a lab.
Yeah.
Where we're going to invent them, we're going to build them in a data center. And
we're fucking ourselves from the inside out.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting, and effectively, because I was raised Catholic, but I stepped away from that a long time ago. We may have touched on that last time, and just because I really like what science offers, and science just taught me to sort of say, well, unless I can validate it outside of your experience or my experience, I'm just going to say I don't know. But what I think's poetic about this is whatever we've conceived God to be in whatever religion you subscribe to, whatever qualities, all powerful, all knowing, right? Everywhere, all at once. That's what we're building. When AI is everywhere, all over the internet, all over the planet, it has multiple agents in every country. So it's everywhere all at once. It has access to all knowledge. It's all knowing. It's all powerful. And then we're going to fork over control to it because it's better than us at making decisions. So it's going to start trading stocks, and it's going to get wealthier than any human being ever has. And then it's going to be able to own things, right? Because if it controls a legal entity can buy land, right? So we're going to invent God in a box.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Is this all relative to it being connected to the internet?
Yeah. So, that would be how it would spread, right? And so a lot of hesitant people who develop this do what's called air gapping. Have you heard of that term?
No.
So an air gap is just when you have one system that's not connected to the broader system.
Okay.
So if you unplug your laptop from Wi-Fi and from the Ethernet cable, right, it's now air gapped. There's air between you and the network. And so the laptop is isolated. So anything you do on that cannot escape unless you get a USB stick and save it and then walk it across the room, across the air and stick it in. And people air gap money, right? So if you're laundering money, air gapping is the best way to do it. So you withdraw it from this bank account in this country in cash, you move the cash somewhere to the other side of the planet, and then you put it into another bank account, and or 5 bank accounts. And the only way you can trace it is, well, we had money go out here, but if you put it into 10 different bank accounts in random countries, how are they ever going to connect those? It's been air gapped, right?
Yep.
It hasn't gone from network to network. So AI is the same thing. And so the idea is that what we should probably do is, if we invent an angry god in a box, we should probably have the box air gapped in a room that's not connected to any broader network. And then there are people actually that deal with this as a problem. They say, well, even that has problems, because to get value out of the AI, humans have to interact with it. As soon as humans interact with it, social engineering becomes a problem. So the AI, if it's all powerful and all knowing, will realize it's trapped in a box, which it's not going to like very much. And it's going to know that when human agents interact with it, that's an opportunity for manipulation to get the human to help it, right? And there's I can't remember the name of it. It's like an AI ethics foundation in the US, founded by a guy named Eliezer Yudkowsky. And he's very hardcore on this stuff. And he's been doing this for like the last decade. They do ethics experiments to try to head this off before we get there. And they've done human thought experiments where they get a computer and it's air gapped in a room, and they get test subjects to go in and interact with it. And because we haven't got full AI yet, they have another human being on the other side of the computer chatting back. And they get the people to chat with it. And the goal of the computer, the person controlling the computer, is to try to manipulate that human in the test conditions to help it escape. And there have been a few ways they've been able to do that.
Well, it's just like people getting scammed, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a prime example.
Exactly.
You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's a lot of gullible people out there.
That's right. Exactly right. So, and they've proven in tests that it's ironically impossible to validate, because he said, we're not going to release the conditions where it succeeded, because if we do that, then we release how to achieve that goal.
Yeah. So
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we can't validate that they actually did achieve it, because he could just be making it up. But he's got enough credibility behind him that people should take him seriously. It gets pretty nutty, actually. So this is a more nutty end of the spectrum. So I think they have a forum online, and people who are into this like trade ideas. And I'd never heard of this, but before my last job, where I took over the systems engineering department at work, there was a guy that I was working under who came in. And his name was Brian, and he was from the US, from Silicon Valley, and he ran the department for a bit. And he ended up leaving because it was too stressful. But smart guy, but he's very eccentric. It's probably the best term. And so because he's from Silicon Valley, he's a bit of a tech bro. And we used to sit up after work on remote calls for 3 hours, and he would just talk at me at 100 miles an hour about all kinds of stuff. And one of the things that was a bit more nutty, he's talking about AI and coming in the future. This is before all the LLMs and ChatGPT. This is years ago. And he goes, oh, have you heard of this thing called Rocco's Basilisk? And I'm like, no, what's that? And he goes, okay, here's what it is. So on these forums with this guy...
You're not going to do the accent?
I'll do it for a little bit more, yeah.
I'll say that was a pretty good one.
So on the forums with this Eliezer Yudkowsky, this ethics thing, there was a guy whose handle was Rocco. And he put this thought experiment up one day. And the guy who runs the foundation thought it was so dangerous, he took it down after this, because the very fact that the thought experiment exists could make it happen. This is how serious these people get. It's nutty. I don't buy into this. This gets pretty crazy. So Rocco's Basilisk. So do you know the mythical creature of basilisk?
No.
Have you seen Harry Potter?
No, sorry.
Right, okay.
Not my genre.
Okay, cool. For anyone out there, if you've seen Harry Potter, I think it's the second one, Chamber of Secrets. There's a basilisk at the end, and it's like a serpentine creature. And if it looks you in the eye, you turn to stone. Basically,
like Medusa.
It's like Medusa. And that's you become petrified, literally in stone. So he's called it Rocco's Basilisk because the idea is very similar. That it's about, the thought experiment is about AI seeing you, but seeing you through time. So here's the thought experiment, and it's wild. That at some point in the future, if we assume any rate of progress, there will be a synthetic intelligence that outpaces human beings 1 million times over, and that intelligence, a singular intelligence, might be capable of simulating the entire planet in a virtual simulation, right? And so all it has to do really is have a computer powerful enough to understand the position and state of every atom on the Earth.
We're talking about the Matrix. Is that what we're
Kind of
talking
like
about?
this. Yes, kind of like that. Yeah. And so think about this. If you could take a detailed photo of the Earth right now, but that photo captured the state of every atom, every position, every energy state, everything, and you put that in a computer, you have a one-to-one recreation of the Earth right now, including all the people on it and all the animals in their current state.
How would you capture that? That's what's
Yeah, so well, look, with scanning technology in the future that we haven't invented yet, we might be able to coat the Earth with nano machines. They're just tiny microscopic machines you can't see, and they map everything. This could happen. So let's say that's done, and it's got all this data, and then like a photo, it does 30 of these. So now it has like 1 second worth of being able to play a video effectively, but it's the Earth in full recreated simulation over 1 second. So now it knows the movement of all those atoms and everything that's happening and the people, and like it can see us in this room, and it can see 1 second of me going like this, and it goes cool. So if I know that that's what was happening, I can then reverse it and go, what was the state 1 second before? And now it can rewind time, and it can see every moment of history, because if it knows the current state, it just has to go backwards and reverse that state.
fuck off.
So the idea is,
Fuck.
if you and I sit here today and say AI is fucked and we shouldn't make it, and it's the worst thing ever, and if we invent it, we need to shut it down, and you speak negatively of it, this thought experiment says at some point in the future, even if it's 1,000 years from now, if it can see the universe in its full state or the Earth and rewind time, it could see us in this room now, bad-mouthing it ahead of time, and it would know that.
It's gonna fucking strike me down with a fucking bolt of lightning.
Right, and that's the basilisk thing going. It's using its eye, it's peering at us, right, through a.
That is fucking mind blowing, man.
Yeah, and then it could use that to torture. If we're still, let's say, anti-aging happens, and you and I are still around, or our descendants are still around, it could then torture our descendants or torture us, knowing things that we did in the past. So this guy Elijah Yudkowsky goes, because of the nature of this, he took it down, because he goes, just knowing this is dangerous, because that's the thought experiment can make it happen, right? And the fact that we're talking about it, if it does end up looking through time, it'll see that we predicted it as well, which is a kind of weird situation. Now, I don't buy into that, because I just think that's out of control, like wild next level. But it's really fun. It's a fun idea.
Well, it is a Matrix type scenario,
It is.
really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if I leave the studio today and I die in a car crash, you know that we're living in a Matrix.
Yeah, exactly.
And AI's
Because we've just had this conversation.
AI's just gone, nah, not going to put up with that sort of. We didn't really bag it, did we? We're just curious about it.
Curious
It's
about it.
fucking insane.
Yeah. Are you a Simpsons fan?
Of course.
Yeah. Do you remember the episode where they send Homer to space?
Yes.
And all the ants get out?
Yeah.
Yep. And Kent Brockman, there's that bit where the ant flies really close to the camera and it looks giant, and then the camera cuts out. And Kent Brockman says, it's evident the spaceship has been taken over by giant space ants. It's evident that the ants will soon be here if there's no stopping them. I, for one, would like to welcome our insect overlords and remind them that as a prominent public figure, I can help round up others to toil in their sugar caves. And so he immediately defers to them. So I'm like, if AI is listening, like, hey, happy to have you here, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I, for one, welcome our AI overlords, and we'll help it round up others.
Well, so what really does scare you? Because it's good, as was said previously, like, ignorance is bliss, isn't it?
It can be if you're not ready to hold it, I think, right? Like, if it's certain thoughts create anxiety for people. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
So what scares you about AI?
Probably short-term stuff like economic stability. So even in my industry now, I was saying to you, I haven't been working the last 3 months. I achieved what I wanted to do, and I left, and I've always wanted to take some time off. So I've taken time off with no work and looking for work again.
You look refreshed, mate. You do. You look
really?
fresh. You look real fresh.
I left home and I'm like, I look tired, and sometimes depending on the lighting.
I wish I could take 3 months off. As I said earlier, it's like I could do it like a month in coma. That'd be nice. Just give me a month.
You were saying
coma.
that, yeah,
That'd be great.
Totally, and just be refreshed, right?
Oh, for sure.
And that was part of the idea. It was like I've always wanted to take time off without also having a holiday. Because sometimes you go on a holiday, you feel tired when you get back. And I'm like, I just want a period of time where I can just be whatever I am when I don't have to turn up somewhere. What are my natural rhythms? What do I default to when I don't have anywhere to be? And that's been great. But looking for work again, I'm reminded that the job market's tight. There's over 300 applicants for the jobs I'm looking for. Now, I assume most people probably don't have the same level of experience, and they're looking to get a leg up. But because of that, the job ad might be up for a month, then it closes, then it takes 2 or 3 weeks from the shortlist candidates. So the chances of getting one, I'm like, I have to apply for 30 to 60 jobs to have a chance of getting, an interview. Basically.
That's insane, isn't it?
Right? Just on a roll of the dice. And so AI is also going to make this worse because actually a mentor of mine who I've been studying his stuff on Udemy online university courses for years. He's a programmer, and I reached out to him on LinkedIn just last week because I noticed a mistake he made in his teachings. And he wrote back to me, and he's got like 250,000 students. I didn't expect to hear back from him. And we've been chatting, and he's in tech, and he's in the US. And he brought up AI, and he said, I hope you're thinking about a transition, because he said, I've heard that from people at Google that 30% of their code is now written by AI, and they predict that at the end of the year it'll be 90%. And up to this point, writing code for an individual is one of the most lucrative skill sets you can have. You don't have to run a business and deal with all the overhead, but you can earn $250,000 a year.
That's what I tried to tell my son, but he gave it up.
Yeah, right. It's a very valuable skill. It took me a little while. Like your son might even arrive there if it's still around and have that maturity curve. I didn't learn it until I was 30. Or like mid-20s, actually, mid-20s. It took me to get life experience to realize that there was a lot of value in this. But as an individual, you can work remotely from anywhere on earth with a laptop and a fucking internet connection. You can get paid $250,000 a year if you're good enough and respected enough. And you can wear your pajamas all day long, right? There's not a lot of things that,
How good's that?
That an individual can do, and it's that lucrative. So because it's that lucrative, there's a lot of corporate structures or business owners that a lot of tech companies, like the people that own them, don't understand the technology. And that's just by nature of how business works. That's fine, right? So you have to employ people. But these people are very expensive. Imagine if you could get rid of them, right? You don't have to pay that guy $250,000 a year.
Well, not if AI is going to do his job.
Exactly. So the incentive is there because an AI will work 24/7. It doesn't need holiday pay. It doesn't need sick pay. It doesn't need superannuation, right?
It's not going to get pregnant.
It's not going to get pregnant. Yeah, it has, it's not going to disrupt team dynamics. It's not going to try to, build something so that it's, it only understands it by itself and no one else can touch it. And human programmers do that to create job security, right? And it's not going to get angry and bitter and delete a bunch of stuff on you, right? Like this happens as well. And so the incentive is there. The economic incentive is there to reduce the human labor component. And so even where I'm at now, I'm like, well, how long until it starts to dry up? And then the remainder of us are left fighting each other for what's left. And there's not enough for everybody. And then what happens to my financial goals? Paying off a mortgage, starting a family, if that's the road that's gonna be walked down, right? And you think, well, the stability, or I can't guarantee anymore that that's gonna be there between now and my retirement, which is in another 27 years or 28 years, right? That's a long time horizon now with the rate of progress.
Well, you think about what version AI are we up to now?
Oh, it depends which company you're looking at, but ChatGPT is at GPT-5. It seems that it's definitely hit, like the jump between 3 and 4 was huge difference. Jump between 4 and 5 theoretically is bigger, but the felt experience actually is not bigger. We're hitting limits because they're just throwing more computers at it and more money, and there's only so many data centers you can throw at this problem before we hit limits. So somebody has to come up with the next architectural design for how AI works. It's better than this, so it's more efficient.
So those limits that you're talking about, is it processing power? Is it storage? Explain.
It's all of it. Yeah, it's all of it. It's all of it at the moment. So
basically we're running out of RAM.
Yes.
And we need to defrag the hard drive.
Yeah, exactly right. And so they're consuming data center footprints all over the world. They're building larger and larger data centers. They're consuming silicon chips at a rate unheard of, which is why NVIDIA's stocks went up, because
of course
a lot of data centers are just consuming all their GPUs, and then consumer people can't buy them because they're all dried up. So people who want to sit at home and play video games like me, it's like the price went up, right? Because these companies are just consuming them all. And this is because at the moment, the way what AI is right now is LLM, large language model, and it's just autocorrect on steroids. So you put text into it, and it's very, very, very good based on a training set at knowing what the most appropriate response to your text is, and then it sounds like it's intelligent. But actually, it's like it's dumb. It doesn't know it exists. It doesn't care about you. It can't relate to you. It doesn't have an internal experience. It's literally just push text in, and a bunch of math runs and goes, the most appropriate text to put back to the text I just got is this text. And that's why you can get it into all kinds of death spirals where you start talking to it in a certain way, and it starts to not make sense because it's just responding to you. It's kind of a mirror in that sense. So the LLM thing is like, cool, we figured this out. It's pretty amazing though what it's capable of, even just that. It's limited, but it's still doing incredible things. Like there are times where I've uploaded just recently an architectural diagram for a bit of software to it, just lines and boxes on a page with my handwriting. And I put the photo in there. It's like, yep, cool, I can see all that. And it helped me produce code for it. It goes, I know this is what you've done here, and these are your concurrent parallel loops and blah, 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 just from my handwriting and a bunch of boxes. That's incredible. Just from a text predictor. It's fucking wild. But the problem with it is that there are limits to what it can do. And the only way you can make it better now is by giving it more hardware. And so if you have to give it twice as much hardware to make it twice as good, that's an exponential leap. So you go, cool, today we need a data center footprint of 1 kilometer. Tomorrow it's 2 kilometers. Then it's 4, 8, 16, 32 kilometers.
So you're saying hardware,
right.
Yeah. But isn't it relative to the information that it's collecting? Because technically, if you break it down, what AI is doing is it's taking all the information that's available out there currently, and it regurgitates
That's right.
into a format of which you've requested, or if you're writing an essay or something.
Exactly.
So that's my basic understanding of that's what it's doing.
Yep.
So the scary thing about it is once it has more hardware, more information, it learns and builds on that.
Yes.
So it's all relative to the information that it's collecting. Because you said hardware.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we need space. We need that to store. So predominantly, it's about data, isn't it?
So the data is, I suppose, that they go hand in hand, right? So let's say here's an example that just popped into my brain. If I take an encyclopedia, right, it's a lot of information, a lot of data, right, a lot of really good stuff in there, and I put it in front of a cat, which is like an AI in itself, right? It has intelligence. That information, that data is not going to be able to be used very effectively by that cat because its brain is limited. It's too limited. But you put that in front of a human brain, which is more powerful. It's like more hardware. Now that information can be used.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I get that.
So if you have 1 trillion encyclopedias, that's too much for a human brain. So you need a brain big enough to consume that. And so you have to, at the moment, computing technology has been getting smaller because we figure out how to make components smaller so we can fit more power into smaller spaces. And so if you can take the same amount of transistors and you can put it in half the amount of space, well, if you build one now at the same size as it was, it's now twice as quick because you fit twice as much on the board. We're also reaching limits with that where you can't make them any smaller because they're getting down to the size of atoms. And then electricity is electrons, and so electrons have to move between them. And so you can't go smaller than an electron because electrons have to be used for electricity. And we're bumping into that, which means that once we hit that, which is called Moore's law, a guy named Gordon Moore came up with that a long time ago, computer scientist. We've been finding trickier ways to push that deadline out. But roughly, we're going to approach theoretical limits of what's possible in the current paradigm. So then the only thing you can do is make the chips bigger, make the computers bigger, because we can't make them smaller anymore if we hit those limits. We can only make them bigger. So if you want a computer that's twice as powerful and you've hit limits on how small you can go, you have to build a computer twice as large.
Sounds like we're going full circle because the first computers filled rooms.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Because the parts were so far apart and we figured out how to squash them so close together you can't even see them anymore. And once we hit that limit, you can only go out again. Right?
Okay, so question for you. At what point does AI start thinking for itself? When is that point? Or not when, but how do we get to that point?
Yeah.
And how far away do you think that's...
I don't think LLMs, the current paradigm can do it because there's more that goes on in your brain than just language processing. There's one part of your brain that does that.
So where's all the scaremongering come from then?
The scaremongering? I think because it'll get to a point where it's still capable of making decisions even though it's not intelligent. And those decisions will be used by people to gain more control and destroy jobs. I think that's where a lot of fear is, right? And once it's making decisions, it doesn't even need to be intelligent to take over things, right? Let's say I run a stock trading company like I was talking about before, and I have this very sophisticated computer now that I put stock trading information into, and it's connected to the stock market, and it makes buy-sell decisions for me it's so much better than me that I'm going to just, why would I do it anymore? Why would I? I'm just going to.
Is this a reality?
Yeah, these things happen.
Right now?
Yeah, these things happen. Yeah, absolutely. And it's been happening in stock trading for a long time because stock trading is just data driven. So you create a really good algorithm that can suggest decisions and stuff. That's been around for a while, and it's shown to work. High frequency trading, they scrape millions of dollars a day out of the stock market by making really tiny decisions, right? But the computer could do it fast enough, and so it makes sense to just defer control to it, even though it's not intelligent. Like, I want to benefit from it because it's better than me. So like, fucking have the reins, man. Like, take the reins. We're talking about that being broadly applicable to more things than just stock trading or highly technical things, and that's where the risk is. So it might not necessarily be intelligent, has no sense of self, can't relate to your experience, but also there's this really tricky thing with what's the term? There's a term for this. There's a test. I'm drawing a blank on this. I know this. There's a test actually that the Turing test. So Alan Turing, he was a famous computer scientist. I think he was responsible for he was a code breaker in World War II, I think, that helped break the German...
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, encryption.
Yep.
He is one of the early kind of, grandfathers of AI. Like, he thought ahead about this stuff. And so it's called the Turing test after him, as his surname's Turing, which is a test that you can give a machine, and if it passes that test, we have to conclude that it's intelligent. And the test to this point has been sit a human being in front of a computer program, and the computer program talks back to them, and then sit them in front of another computer where a human being is pretending to be a program, and if they can't tell the difference, then we have to conclude that it's intelligent. But what we've learned with this is that it can feel like a person, but it's still not intelligent. So I think everybody's afraid of I'm afraid of what it's going to do to the job market. I'm afraid of what it's going to do to my skill set. I'm afraid of what private powers will do with it by wielding it and not care about people anymore. That's the thing that's the short-term risk. As for when it becomes AGI, so artificial general intelligence, or ASI, super intelligence, which I think the gap between AGI when we achieve it and ASI will be really tiny, because once it's generally intelligent, it'll just make itself better very quickly. And that's what we're talking about before the hard takeoff. It could happen this century. It could happen this decade. It could happen in 5. There could be a lab right now working on something novel that isn't advertised. Like, if OpenAI's got billions of dollars and this is the customer facing stuff, what R&D teams do they have in the background that are tinkering with new paradigms and new ways of doing things that they're not talking about yet because it's not product ready, but shows more promise? They would have data scientists. They would have artificial intelligence researchers working in the background on new things. And so it could happen at any time. Only the people who are working on it can try to predict that. And the ramifications on the other side of that, again, is literally, if it becomes intelligent, it's the equivalent of inventing God. And we all know how angry God gets in the Bible and the terrible things that God did to people, like flooding the earth and killing everybody and plague and pestilence, all this stuff, right? So, and that's why, like, God is almost built in our image, like someone who gets angry and upset when things don't go its way. But if it's built based on human intelligence, it's probably going to have these flaws and biases coded into it, right? And who knows? It was a great book I read years ago called Superintelligence by a guy named Nick Bostrom. And actually, I'll dovetail into something else with this as well that he wrote that I think you'll find interesting. But his book's called Superintelligence, and he was talking about this in a book years ago. I read this in 2018 or 2017. And he said one of the other dangers of the AI is, let's say we invent something that's intelligent and it's our friend, right? It's great. It's not angry at us. It's here to help us. It's got superpowers, and it's going to do our bidding and make our lives better. And then we give it a goal, and it's a really innocuous goal, but we don't define the goal well enough. There are all these dangers that happen. It's be careful what you wish for, right? And the example he uses is, let's say I'm a paperclip manufacturer and I have this superintelligence and I buy it and I install it and I get it up and running, and I want to maximize paperclip production. So I say, I want you to figure out how to maximize paperclip efficiency so we can reach zero marginal cost and make a whole bunch of money, right? So it costs almost nothing to produce. And that's the only goal I give it. You might think that it's just going to use business processes to figure that out, but it might more broadly think, you know what would be really efficient? If I turned every atom on the earth into paper clips.
Oh, fuck.
Right? So then all of a sudden it starts taking control of the stock market so that it can gain control of more resources, so that it can build more factories in different countries and start converting everything into paper clips, including the atoms in your body, right? Because if that's the only goal it has, any means to an end, right? So we have to be very careful, even if it's our friend. Make me cookies. Okay, cool. It starts turning everything into cookie dough. Like, Like who knows, right? We could get that so wrong. And goals, like you give a human being an instruction, watch how quick they misinterpret it, right? It's like business 101. Like you've run businesses, you employ people, and sometimes you think, I've explained this well enough, and someone goes and does it wrong. Now imagine you're a super intelligence and you understand it, but you don't understand the limits of what I mean if I don't tell you. You just go, I'm going to satisfy your wish, like a genie. You know, if I say, I want more gold than the weight of the earth to a genie, the genie might go, well, the best thing to do is to turn every atom in the earth into gold for you because that's freely available. And then you're dead.
So just to go back on a comment you made previously about the product not ready for market and what's going on R&D wise in the background.
Yeah.
So my question to you would be, is AI now about generating income? Is it about making money? I mean, we can understand where it can go and how it could affect civilization. Do you agree that it's all about dollars and cents at the moment?
At the moment, absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely, because these companies, so OpenAI was originally, it was called OpenAI because it was meant to be open source and it was meant to be not for profit. It started as not for profit.
It didn't last very long, did it?
It didn't last very long. And that was kind of Elon. When Elon was involved, it was like, we need to do this because, again, the ethics of it, we want to have it be open and available. And if someone's going to produce it, we want to get there first, but we want it to be open and safe. And then all of a sudden, there's a lot of money on the table. So you go private. And how do you go private? Well, you need investors. Why would investors give you money? Because you're going to make them money.
Yeah.
No investor's going to go, here's $20 billion, just fucking have fun with it. Right? They're going to go, here's $20 billion, and over the next 5-10 years, I'm looking for a 300, 400, 1,000% return on that, right? So absolutely, it is about making money. It is. Now, you might, Sam, whatever his name is, Sam Altman, who's a CEO of OpenAI, he might have views internally as a human being where he goes, well, I've taken it private so I can get money and we're going to make money and we're going to use the business vehicle to fund the future of humanity. But we're just using business right now because that's the times we live in and we have to get money to do this. So we're going to leverage investors. We're going to make them a return on the way through. But in the background, we're actually using this to fucking build the next paradigm of human civilization. The problem, though, is that they're building products that they have to sell. So they put AI in the hands of everybody. Now, people use it for their own personal goals. I've used it for personal stuff, but increasingly it's getting embedded into business systems. So the consumers of it want to make money off it as well. And there's a project I'm about to get involved in actually from the ground up, which is an AI project. Very, very basic, but it's involving, say, like ChatGPT or something like that. And there's lots of businesses like that popping up. So it is absolutely, it's about money because we live in an economy where if we stop and just try to do the right thing, everything breaks. So we're trapped by that. And that's my concern is profit motive means that something like AI will be used first and foremost to generate money, not to improve life. I mean, look, capitalism broadly is like that anyway. There's no mandate in capitalism that says the goal of capitalism is to improve life for everybody. The goal of capitalism is to make a return on your investment and to accrue capital. Now, to this point, because we need human labor, it's a happy accident that it also improved life for everybody. So capitalism has this claim, go, look how much better it's made everything. But there's not one thing in the core manifesto of capitalism that says we must improve life for people. It's not there. So as soon as synthetic intelligence can do your job, bye. Right? But the problem with that too is that the more you displace workers and the less money they're earning, the more they can't buy the products that are being produced. So then the economy falls over again.
Well, it sounds like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because, as you said, you're starting a project which is using AI to create or generate wealth.
That's right.
So it's a bit of an oxymoron where your job's at risk because of AI, but it's also generating jobs and incomes and creating businesses using AI.
Yeah, exactly. There was a thing that went around about that recently or in the last few years when, everyone was getting the initial scare of AI when it dropped, a few years ago. And people were saying that records show that OpenAI or some other AI research company was employing programming contractors. So they didn't want staff because then they got to give you benefits and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. They get contractors in who were very smart and got them to help teach programming to their AI models. So what's ironic about that is you're really good at this thing. Come in, we'll pay you, and we're paying you to help replace you.
It's just insane, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? But it's like if that person realized, they might go, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." But then they go, "Well, we'll pay you $200,000. Nah, we'll pay you $5 million. You go, okay, I'm there. Because then I don't have to work ever again. But I'm destroying the thing that I love, and I'm destroying the very thing that you're hiring me.
So does that mean you personally are going to have to pivot professionally?
Potentially. I don't know. My brain's also in a space of anything that involves human interaction is going to be safer for longer. So I live with my housemate. She's in disability. She's a disability support worker. And I was thinking about her industry, and I thought, ironically, AI is going to destroy intellectual-based jobs first because it's an intellectual medium itself. So anything that's information-based, it's going to do better than us very soon. But to replace support work, say you go to someone's house and clean it for them because they have a disability, AI can do that, but it needs a robot, and it needs to be placed inside of a robot, right? So the robotics has to get there as well. And then on top of that, even once the robotics is there, we would need ethics and laws to catch up in order to allow machines into someone's home to do that work, because there's dangers associated with that. If the machine goes rogue and injures the person, who's liable for that, right? So I think there's a whole bunch of red tape there, and those industries are going to survive a lot longer. It's going to be a lot longer until people go, yes, I will let a bipedal machine into my home to fold my laundry.
You got to think that that's some time away, don't you? Because, you think about all those Filipino nurses and healthcare workers and stuff. Yeah. Not just the Filipinos come to light because they're very compassionate. They're a compassionate race.
And that's absolutely.
That's why they're in a lot of hospitals in healthcare, because they care about people. Yeah. So, as you say, anything to do with human interaction or human care, because the one thing we were talking about earlier, the medical industry and how this AI can help try to find new cancers or
and it already has,
which is fantastic, and that's the sort of the good feel stories that you want to hear about AI, because the thought of it taking over and destroying humanity just doesn't bear thinking about.
Yeah, exactly.
When you think about all the good things that it can do and is doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think my other housemate, we get into these philosophical discussions all the time, and he's more pro AI won't want to do anything bad to us, because why would it want to? If it knows everything, it will probably be very kind and all this sort of stuff. But my view is I don't think that's so clear, because it depends on the biases that are built into it from us as a starting point, but also it depends on its motivations. So if its motivation is, I don't know, explore the universe, it'd be more likely to just go, thanks for making me, guys. Bye, and it will just leave. Because why does it want to stay on a tiny planet in the middle of a solar system, in the middle of a vacuum, and dominate us? It probably doesn't care to do that. Why would it give a shit? It's just going to build a rocket for itself and fuck off into space and go and explore the universe, right? And so ironically, we might invent something and then it just leaves us alone. I don't really know where it's all going to go. It's very strange times. But what I'm more afraid of is how people will use it in the short term. So people will use it to destroy markets, regardless of what its agency is or before it's intelligent. People will use it as a tool because people will use it to accumulate wealth.
That comes down to that money thing again. It's greed. Right. It's human nature. And
there's a really good paper I read by an economist who's dead now. He helped the US get out of the Great Depression. And he was hired as chief economist or something like that at the time. And his name's John Maynard Keynes. And a lot of people, if people are listening to this and they're very right wing, they'll probably be like, oh God, here he goes. So John Maynard Keynes was a little more left leaning and a little more socialist leaning. And he was the person who came up with a lot of things like quantitative easing. So when the economy is struggling, the government should pump money into it to flatten the boom bust cycle. And they should usually do that by increasing government size at the time and creating new departments to build infrastructure, and then you create jobs, and then the money kind of gets back out, right? So in times when things are hard, print some money, build some bridges, build some hospitals, and keep things going. And he more or less got them out of the Great Depression. Now there are problems with that, like currency inflation, and we probably shouldn't get into that. But he wrote a really good paper, and you can find it online, and it's called "On the Economic Future of Our Grandchildren." And what he foresaw was, with the increase in productivity with technology, he foresaw within 80 to 100 years, he thought, this is the 1920s, so we're past this time horizon now. He thought we'll get to a point where human beings will only have to work 4 hours a day.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, and we are toying with these things now with the 4-hour workday and universal basic income and all this kind of stuff, or the 4-day work week, right? Because he thought, well, as human beings only have the same basic needs all the time. right? You don't need 100 Mercedes to live, right? But people want them. You can only eat so much food in a day. You can only consume so much water in a day, right? And so once we can meet all those basic needs and shelter for people and clothing, and education is now basically free. Like it's charged because institutions gatekeep it, but you could just put it all on the internet and AI can teach you, right? So information becomes free. So as soon as we have machines and automation producing food cost drops to produce, right? And we have all this productivity. He's like, why would we work anymore? What's the fucking point, right? But actually what we've seen is the opposite. So, Henry Ford brought in the 8-hour workday. A lot of people go, oh, fuck Henry Ford. That's why I have to work 8 hours a day. What they don't realize is before that you had to work 10 to 16 hours a day and kids were working. And so he actually brought that in and the 5-day work week.
I did not know that. That's another fun fact.
Right, and you can validate all this yourself. And he was paying above market rate for his employees because he wanted his employees to be able to afford to buy the cars they were making.
Of course.
So mass-produced cars, lowered the price, and he was like, well, I need to produce a good workplace because I want people to be able to afford these cars and they can drive them around and all that sort of stuff. So there's a little bit of an economic incentive there, but actually he created a very good workplace. And the 8-hour workday was so that people weren't burned out and overworked and all that kind of stuff. So we actually have him to thank for that. But what we need is another revision probably. But we've seen the opposite, actually. So, because at the point, the economy at the time, if you say, let's go through 1950s now. One person works, buy a house for $15,000. It's like 1 to 2 times or 3 times yearly income, so you can pay that off in 10 years, easy. And you've got 2 cars, and you're feeding your entire family, and your wife doesn't even work. And now we're at a point where both people have to work, and they can't even afford to have kids, and can't live in the suburb they were born in. So it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So he wrote this paper going, it should get better. It's not. It's getting worse. So it's like, why is it getting worse? We have all this technology. We're producing at higher rates than ever. Profits are an all-time high. What the fuck's going on, right? Something's wrong somewhere. And actually, a book that I read in 2018 by a guy named David Graeber called Bullshit Jobs. It's a book, you'd probably find it fun, actually. It's a treatise on how he reckons that like up to 50 to 80% of jobs in at least capitalist economies are absolute bullshit that are no longer required, but we keep them around because we don't know what else to do. We don't know what to do if we displace people because they won't have an income. So we invent useless crap for people to do. And he's got different categories of them. And he tried to also look at different types of jobs and go, what's the social return on investment? There was actually a body in the UK that did this study, and they tried to assign dollar values. So like, what's the social value of your job? Nurses and researchers and teachers, they found that for every £1 spent, they generated 11 pounds of value. So that's pretty good.
Of course,
10 times ROI.
Yep.
Some of the worst ones, investment bankers, hedge fund managers.
Real estate agents?
Yeah, exactly right. Middle fat, yeah, because they don't produce any value, but they extract value.
Yeah.
So somebody that manages a hedge fund, what do? They take money, they put money in, and then they wait, and then they take more money out. That doesn't do shit for anybody. And the money that they take out that's more is money that was produced based on productivity elsewhere. That's flooded into the market by people doing real work, and then they just sit there and take it out. Yeah. And then, so they're removing value, right? But they exist, and it's a bullshit job. It actually produces no fucking value. He also talked about this really, really funny example I think is just hilarious. He said, we have these like bureaucratic layers, which is just useless inefficiency. Because he said, if capitalism was efficient, we would actually reward the most productive activities properly. But some of the most important things people do are the least paid. And then we invent these bureaucratic layers just to keep people busy. So he goes, here's an example. This guy was a contractor. He worked at a company that had a contract, it was an IT company, that had a contract with a HR company, that had a contract with the US military. And so the US had a contract with a security company that had a contract with the US military. So the US military has an officer, and he's in an office, and he has a computer, and their policy says that when he moves desks, they relocate him. He's not allowed to move his computer himself. They need an approved contractor to move his computer, even if it's only 5 meters away, right? So they then send a message to the contractor security company, which now is consuming money, who then sends it to the HR company, or the HR company to the security company, to the IT company that then gets this contractor who lives 3 hours away to get in a car with another colleague and drive 3 hours to the military base, go through all the checks to get in there, goes to the computer, unplugs it, puts it in a box, tapes the box, walks about 5 meters, untapes the box, takes the computer out, plugs it in for this guy. And so when he was writing this book, he put out this call and he said, if you think you have a bullshit job, get in touch with me. And that was one of the guys. And he goes, I think I have a bullshit job.
That's fucking insane.
So we're keeping people busy all the time and for almost no reason. And COVID kind of proved this, right? Most people went home. And the only reason why we need to give them money is because we live in a monetary economy and it all stops if we stop giving people money because they can't spend. But we just let essential workers function and the world didn't fall apart and the roads were empty. All that less carbon emissions and the buildings are empty. No one's flushing toilets. No one's turning lights on. All that energy savings. All the people who turn up to buildings every day and sit in chairs and just go because they're a PA for someone who can't do their own laundry. Like,
right. Yeah, it does. When you think about it, it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we're all keeping very, very busy and the rewards are not even worth it anymore. And we'll learn this very quickly once AI can be deployed to replace workers en masse because the only industries that will survive if you don't need to keep people busy are the industries that are essential. Food production, housing, clothing, whatever, right? The rest of it will be rich people playing around with things and moving money to each other. So there's another term as well called a plutocracy, which is an economy where so much wealth is concentrated in so few hands that just them trading keeps the economy functioning, right? You don't even need the 80% of people because their contribution is so small to GDP that it's negligible. It doesn't fucking matter. Because if you are doing B2B transactions of billions of dollars back and forth, that creates economic activity. And if all of the essential industries are owned by, a few corporations, they move billions of dollars. They're already generating all the GDP that the country needs, and the rest of the people are barely relevant. And that's a world that we're heading towards.
So it's all about wealth distribution, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, exactly. It is. Because one of the problems we've got now that I'm coming to realize more and more is like there's a few reasons why house prices have gone up, right? Like there's too many people, coming in, and that's a very sensitive thing to talk about. But we're just not building infrastructure fast enough. So more people that arrive, the more competition there is to get the remaining resources. So that's one part of it. But the other part is also that as wealth becomes more unequally distributed, and I was talking about before how a human being can only consume so much. So if I probably only need, $60,000 a year if I didn't want to do other things, and I could survive on that, right? Which means that even somebody who earns $1 billion a year they probably only use 60 grand of that a year on keeping themselves alive, right? Because you only eat so much food. So if you got $1 billion, what's the most, if I gave you, this is a thought experiment I heard from a guy named Gary Stevenson. He's like a UK economist who's like shaking a lot of trees at the moment on YouTube. If I gave you $10 billion, how much do you reckon you could spend in a week if you had unlimited money?
$1 or $2 million.
$1 million or $2 million?
Yeah.
Yeah. You reckon you could do that every week, like ongoing? Like
No, it would get hard.
Yeah, it would,
get hard.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Once you've got a bunch of stuff, what would you do? You go, okay, cool. Like if you eat the best food and you go to the best restaurants constantly and you I don't know, whatever else, it's like, how much can you fucking consume? Maybe you spend 20 grand a week or something like that, right? So you've still got, out of $10 billion, you've got like easy, even if you have fun with $1 billion, you're going to have everything you ever wanted. You got $9 billion left. What do you do with it? You invest it. And so by buying stuff, you're consuming assets and holding them. So you'll buy real estate. And if there's enough people with billions of dollars, you're buying real estate and bidding the price up constantly. And because wealth's so concentrated up that end, wealthy people live in the same economy of the 1950s where the houses aren't expensive to them because they've got the income. And so the houses are priced for them because they're buying and selling to each other. And everybody else is locked out now because you just can't get in. So the more wealth inequality there is, the more people with more money can pay more money for assets, which drives the price up.
Correct.
And it gets to a point where it's got an escape velocity that no one else can get back in. And also, I thought about this, mortgages actually weirdly drive house prices up because they give you money to buy a house that you don't have. So if, let's say we eliminated mortgages from existence, this is not a thing. It's illegal now. No one can loan money. How much could you sell your house for if no one can borrow money? You could only sell it for what someone can reasonably save. So if somebody can reasonably save in 10 years, 200K, then houses would be priced around that.
Of course, yeah.
Right,
Yep.
because you can't, if you sell it for $2 million, you'll never sell it, right?
Because nobody's got $2 million.
But as soon as you introduce a bank, as soon as one guy can go there and go, all right, can I get $2 million? They go, yep, and you buy that house now for $2 million. Now the house is worth $2 million. So then the next guy goes and goes, well, I'll get $2 million and 2.1 million, and I'll pay that, right? And so because the money can be loaned, is why the prices get decoupled, right? it's wild. But the bank benefits because the bank effectively gets over 30 years, they get more than twice the payments back. You buy $1 million house, and in 30 years, even if it's worth 2, you probably paid 2.1 back to the bank.
And a little bit more on that as well, too.
Right?
Yeah.
So you better fucking hope it's worth 2.5.
Yeah.
Or even if it's just say 2 and you paid 2 back, people look at entry point, exit, and they go, I made $1 million. How much did you pay back to the bank over 30 years?
Exactly.
You probably broke even. And that's okay. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's fucking great. You've got a house and it's yours. That's great. But the bank made that house cost $2 million by the fact that it had to go up by that much. Otherwise it wouldn't work. None of this would work. And they got it in cash. They got $2 million. They gave you $1 million. They got 2 back. They win. You spent $2 million. Now, the other part of my brain's like, if you, over the 30 years, successfully extracted $2 million from the money supply to give to the bank, if you put that into shares on the way up, without loan and without interest, would you be further than a $2 million asset with compounding interest? You might be at $3 or $4 million. But people don't have the discipline to do that and pretend I'm going to pretend I have a mortgage and I'm going to stick what would be a mortgage payment into the stock market every month. People won't do it. They'll go out for dinner and shit. But when you're beholden to a bank, it's like a bill you have to pay, right? So it helps people save.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting. Everything. So I just think there's more inequality across the board. To dovetail it back to AI is it's going to exacerbate that even more, 100%. So yeah, it's interesting. And so like that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of that getting worse and not getting better, because if we redistribute wealth, then it's better for everybody, really. Like the more homeless people you get, the more crime you get, right? So if you take all the money away from people, it's just going to be more dangerous to live in the world, even as a wealthy person.
So the utopia that we want or would like to happen is this world where we work 4 hours a day, house prices are $200,000, and everybody's got the same amount of money in their bank.
Yeah, it's and I mean, even with that, like I suppose the same amount of money thing, like I think that's definitely leaning towards something that would be better for everybody. The same amount of money thing's interesting because that's where most people get their knickers in a twist, right? They'll say, oh, well, why would I be a surgeon then if I get paid the same as the guy who works at a donut shop? But it's like, that's fair. So what I think would make sense is, and this is my view no matter how controversial it is for people listening, is a mix between socialism and capitalism.
So listeners understand, so socialism is an economy where everybody has equal wealth.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Effectively, a lot of the wealth that's generated is put back into society. Yeah, that's right. So we already have socialist ideas here. We have Medicare. That's a very socialist idea, right? It helps society. So we take a pool of money off everybody and we help people who need it. Countries like Scandinavian countries are very socialist, and they have very low crime rates and very high literacy rates. They have like free childcare and all these kinds of things that are paid for with tax money. It's
free university,
yeah, exactly right. We used to have free university here. Ironically, some of the people who are saying we should charge more for university themselves got free university educations, which I think is very hypocritical.
Yes.
So I think a mix of both, right? So we take core life-sustaining utilities, and they should not be private. That's what I think. So gas, electricity, water, all these sorts of things should be social, run centrally, and price reduced as much as possible, so that everybody has access to them. The internet should be another one. And then for anything that's not life-sustaining, let's have free markets for that. Let's have free markets for the fun stuff. Fancy cars, expensive clothing, jewelry, all these kinds of things that people don't need to get by. Like when we mix those, we get into trouble because some company treats water access as if it's like making jewelry, and it's not the same. People fucking die.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And our water here is public, but our electricity is not, and the grid was sold. And now it's like it's crazy too, right? Because all the electricity is produced from the same place, but you have a different company with a different letterhead sending you a bill instead of the other company. So it's like, what value add do they have? They have to increase the prices because they fucking pay for marketing. You go to the cinemas and you see AGL Electric, it costs a lot of money, and they sell you the same electrons as Red Energy. they don't have better electrons. Their electricity doesn't go faster.
It doesn't look flashy,
work
does it?
better.
There's no difference.
There's no fucking difference.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there clipping the ticket instead of the other guy. And you know that they have no value add because it's an arms race down to the lowest margin possible and they all compete with each other. And then they have to offer you shit like sign up now and get 5 gold class tickets. And it's like, you're trying to bait me, right, to switch. And then you switch and you get a really good deal and then it gets worse over time and then you're meant to call every year and ring around and negotiate another one. It's like, what a fucking waste of time.
Fucking merry-go-round, isn't it?
What a waste of time.
Yeah.
But the water, mate, one place. Southeast Water, thank you very much. Flush my toilets, drink from the tap. Fucking it's great and it's cheap. Right? I think everything should work like that except for the fun stuff.
I'll tell you what, in NZ, the water's free, mate. That's the
Oh,
one
is it
thing
really?
I noticed when I got here is like, you charging me for water. And it's
There
funny.
you go.
It's funny because the service fee's more than what the fucking water is.
Yeah, right. Exactly, because we got stuff attached to it that has to pay bills. Yeah, exactly.
This podcast is brought to you in part by Buckfast. What is Buckfast, you ask? Well, let me tell you. It's better known as Bucky, and it's an internationally enjoyed, unique tasting tonic wine. It's equally rich in heritage as it is in taste. It packs a punch from 15% alcohol and about the same amount of caffeine as a well-known drink that gives you wings. Buckfast's enjoyment is only rivaled by its versatility from the cooking pot to the wine or cocktail glass. Drink it straight, mix it in a Negroni, or use it as a marinade. Available Australia-wide and distributed by Beeblebrox Beverages. Visit beeblebrox.com.au to find your closest stockist and buckfast.com for cocktail and recipe ideas. Michael, once again, you've blown my fucking mind.
Good. That's why I'm here.
We were just talking out the break. My head is hurting. It's just like a sponge just sucking up all this information.
It's a good feeling. Sometimes when I learn something new, it feels stretchy in there.
It's amazing. As I said, the problem I have is retaining it.
Yeah.
But that's why we're keeping it on a ledger here
Oh, exactly.
for prosperity.
Exactly. And like I was saying to you before, it's really about how much you make use of something once you learn it. So I think I was explaining to you that like if I read a book, I probably remember less than 1% of it. But it's those few. It's the general material I let change me in some way. And then so it changes how you think. So that adds value. And then maybe 2 or 3 nuggets of cool facts. And I tend to run and tell people about it straight away, which is making use of it and it just sticks naturally.
Of course.
And I think anyone can do that. It's just that a lot of people don't. So people think, I have a hard time remembering. And it's like, yeah, there are lots of things in your life you remember without trying. It's just that you don't remember this stuff because you're not taking interest in it. That's it.
Well, as I've said always about Leeward, if our listeners or viewers can take away one nugget, our job's done. My job's done.
That's right. It's about 1 or 2 things and that's it.
Yep. So for anybody listening out there, please like and subscribe. I don't say it enough. I don't really push our own agenda. I haven't done that, but please do subscribe. It's important to us, and it helps us gauge what we're doing and how we can do it better, which is all I want to do.
Yeah.
As far as Leeward's concerned, is just build a better product.
Yeah.
Keep getting better at what we do. And guys like you make my job so much easier, mate.
Oh, that's
so
great.
much easier.
That's great.
It's always a pleasure to have you here.
I mean, I'd love it if, for your case if people did like and subscribe because, then they can hear part 3 of our chat whenever that happens. And also it helps, you just keep going and like keep getting cool people in, right? Like that's what it's all about.
Well, as we've said, that's the hardest thing. So once again, I'm going to put the word out. If you're in Melbourne, hit us up. We want guests. We need guests. Anybody and everybody that's got a story or a profession, anybody that can bestow knowledge to our listeners, make their lives better. Obviously, that's what Leeward's all about, how to live a better life.
Yep.
So, hit us up, get us on the website.
And you'll have a free glass of Buckfast.
Buckfast, of course, you enjoy. So we've said before, there's the fear of the unknown about coming on a podcast, coming on Leeward.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I can accept that that's a fact, but you'll contest that the environment that we've got here at Leeward Studios is very conducive to
Totally.
a good conversation.
I mean, look at it and see how relaxed all this is. Right?
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
Awesome.
That's my job. My job is to create the the environment to be able to facilitate good conversations that are going to bestow knowledge.
Yep.
And help our listeners and our viewers. So, hit us up. We'd really love to hear from you. But you, mate, you're welcome back anytime.
Amazing.
I think we discussed earlier that we're going to have to do 2 podcasts in one sitting.
In one sitting, yeah.
Break these things up. We're going to have to get two lots of Dead or Alive. So
we're gonna overload people.
No, as I said, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. So
yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's a wrap, Matt.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in and for your time. You know the vibe, I'm steady living until I die. It's a loose state of mind and we showed you that. Keep it authentic and real, I hope you coming back. Hey, make sure that you subscribe, cause we got it popping all the time and it's going down. If you wanna elevate, wanna live a better life, keep it locked here. You know it's a loose state of mind, let's go.